shrinking airline seats are imperiling passenger safety. The judge rejected the FAA's argument that seat size was unimportant to getting off the plane in an emergency situation. All three judges on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit agreed the FAA must conduct a review of the request for regulation setting a minimum airline seat size, but Judge Judith Rogers dissented from part of the court's rationale. Airline seats have steadily decreased in size over the last several decades. Economy class seat pitch has decreased from an average of 35 inches in the 1970s to 31 inches, and in some airplanes, 28 inches. Seat pitch is the distance from one seat to the same spot on the seat in front or behind. Average seat width has also narrowed over the last decade from about 18 inches to 16.5 inches. Critics accuse airlines of being more interested in profit than passenger health and safety. FAA spokesman Greg Martin wrote in an email that the agency does consider seat pitch in testing and assessing the safety evacuation of commercial passenger aircraft, adding, "We are studying the ruling carefully and any potential actions we may take to address the court's findings." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
And if you thought things couldn't get more infantile and aesthetically insulting than Fergie, Kesha, or Katy Perry, then you obviously haven't met 22-year-old Karonica, the latest and most horrid, talent-bereft pop monstrosity the music industry has ever sadistically forced down the American public's collective throat. She's here with us in the studio right now.
What?
Now tell us, Karonica, how did you first decide that you wanted to be the cipher through which the cynicism of a morally bankrupt industry is channeled?
Yo, I just do what I do. Know what I'm saying? It's like people just love my ish.
Right. You are in the middle of your sold-out Damn Girl tour.
Damn girl, that's right.
Which is a heinous slap in the face to the English language, and will also travel to 47 cities, sapping the intellects of every young person along the way.
I said, damn girl, that's right.
There's no light in your eyes, Karonica.
I got nothing to say to the haters.
I hate you.
This is the Onion News Network.
We are now.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, the live Sunday edition of the program. As always, you can take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up whatever is on your mind. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Johnny Ray,
and Mark.
So, wanted to follow up tonight on the coverage we gave Venezuela on Friday, talking about the expected protests over the weekend. I mean, protests have been happening in Venezuela for months. And this weekend, they were supposed to be directly violating a ban on protests that Nicolas Maduro, the president of that country, soon to be a total dictator apparently, had put on the people there, saying no protests would be allowed throughout the weekend all the way through Tuesday, ostensibly to protect his precious election that was scheduled for today. The officials apparently continued the voting past its expected close time of 6 p.m. Eastern time. So polls just closed in Venezuela. But as the New York Times has pointed out, it really doesn't matter who wins in today's vote because the opposition didn't field candidates for it. They don't recognize the legitimacy of the entirety of the vote. So pretty much every candidate that one could vote for is a backer of Nicolas Maduro, somebody who is going to be on the side of the government there, which for listeners who may not have been paying attention to what's happening in Venezuela, the whole situation there, the whole society is, you could say, in the process of collapse, on the brink of collapse. I mean, it's bad, very, very bad there, and it's going to get worse as this Maduro character, the president, is granted more power, which is what this vote is expected to do. As we talked in detail on Friday night, the vote is to create a constituent assembly, and those constituents will be mostly Maduro's constituents, the people who love Maduro, you know, the few of them that remain, the people that are working for him, that are getting a paycheck through him. These are the people who are expected to turn out and vote. These are the people who are running for these seats, and the assembly, once it is seated, would be expected to rewrite the Constitution of Venezuela. And of course, they're expected to rewrite the Constitution of Venezuela to benefit and aggregate even more power to the executive office. That's what's going on today in Venezuela. And the protests, again, were banned, but yet protesters have been out in the streets. Clashes with the police, including at least one candidate, has been killed.
So is this the election that the recall that was voted on, some months ago, and finally Maduro's facing the recall? No?
No.
Okay.
No, there were people who had put in, what you're referring to is the petitions that were signed for a recall election on Nicolas Maduro that Maduro managed to put off until some future point.
Yes.
After the Constitution perhaps is rewritten.
Right.
To protect him from being recalled.
So the opposition wins by getting a recall and then decides not to vote in the upcoming election?
No. They're protesting this election because it doesn't matter. Ultimately,
it doesn't matter?
No, because Maduro's in control of this election. The people who are
legislature aggregating power doesn't matter?
What do you mean?
Okay. When your enemy is on the move, you do not give them a battle.
Right, but you also don't play on their battlefield. And so what's going on here is the government, Nicolas Maduro, this man who's basically a dictator there, with very little constitutional controls on him, wants to rewrite the Constitution.
Understood.
So somehow he's called for this vote, which the opposition says is completely unconstitutional. And they are protesting. The reason why is because, let's see, 2/5 of the voters are from special groups. So there's municipal voting that is going to happen, but then there's also 2/5 of the voters are going to, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the word that describes these groups, but essentially they are government guys.
Okay.
Like they're sectors. That was what the word was, sectors. Certain sectors of the voting public is going to be allowed to vote here.
Well, that's pointless. Yeah.
Plus, so that's 2/5 of them, and then the other 3/5 is coming from the municipalities.
I haven't seen any instance in life, like somebody needs to show me history where not voting has been a successful protest, because I haven't seen it yet.
Well, you got to understand, Mark, they are way past the point of the system working
I understand that.
In Venezuela.
I just don't know that this is an effective protest. I hear you.
Well, they're also out in the streets, and there's active conflict with the police.
Right? These people are throwing Molotov cocktails. Now, I don't know what the effect is that they're looking for, but it is effective in a sense, right? Like it is, the streets of Venezuela are on fire.
Yeah.
Certainly, a Molotov cocktail is more effective than voting.
You do not want to be in the streets of Venezuela.
No, I do not.
It is a deadly place with multiple murders being committed by men that the government has armed who are not officially working for the government, the colectivos, who have been doing everything they can apparently to dissuade the people who are against Maduro from coming out. The interesting thing was not a month ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a referendum vote, a symbolic vote done by the opposition, where more than 7 million people in the country of like 30-something million came out, and 90-something% of them registered frustration with and wanting to get rid of Nicolas Maduro.
Okay.
But again, that was a referendum vote. It didn't, wasn't in any way binding. The expectation about this vote is that even with all the government lackeys that are going to come out, not even 5 million people were expected to turn out. Now, we don't have the actual numbers on this yet, but one news report I saw earlier said hundreds of thousands of people were coming out to vote. So, what the total number is going to be, it may end up being that when, if we get honest numbers from the government, and I wouldn't trust that for a moment, but if we do get honest numbers from the government about how many people came out to vote today, it may be that more people went to the referendum to vote against Maduro than went to this vote. And the other point is that I was reading in the New York Times is that the people who are voting today, they didn't have the option to vote against having this vote.
Right.
This thing just was being forced down people's throats. Like, Maduro's like, we need this constituent assembly, and my friends are going to be the ones who get the most votes in this thing. So come on out, Venezuela. Let's see who do you want to elect to the constituent assembly that is expected to rewrite the country's constitution and aggregate more power. I mean, it's to the point, Mark, where these people do not believe that they can change anything through the system.
They may very well not be able to.
And it's pretty clear they can't.
Yeah, I mean, try writing a letter to your congressman here in the United States if you don't believe that if you believe that the system works. Right? I get it. Their system works even less than this one does. But I don't know. I'm always leery when somebody says, "Well, it's just we're gonna protest this vote." Protesting votes in and of itself is a pretty ineffective way to do anything.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but you are, coming from the perspective of a man who has a whole lot of options. As far as you can get on the radio, you can complain, you can leave, you can work within the system to try to change things. There's all kinds of things that we can still do here to try to have an effect on things. It's over. I mean, the only thing that is left to happen here is a coup, a violent, overthrow of this man, Nicolas Maduro. Now, who's going to do that, and at what point? The police are still being fed by him, so they're still working for him for the most part.
Right. He knows who to feed. He feeds the people that have guns.
Right, although one cop has gone rogue and threw grenades from a helicopter onto the Supreme Court building a couple of weeks ago, and there, of course, was a lot of talk as to whether or not that was some sort of CIA, operation, or if he was actually working for Maduro or whatever. I don't know if there's any updates on that.
You'd think if the CIA wanted to change, leaders in Venezuela,
they would have
gotten that done by now. I mean, it's not like there's not a lot of backing there. All you have to do is move in guns and bologna sandwiches, and you've got yourself an army.
So, there's no easy solution for the people in Venezuela, but showing up at the polls to vote for anyone in this election is obviously a big turnoff to millions of people in this country. This isn't like a handful of anarchists that are like, we're not going to vote, as everybody else goes out and participates in what they consider to be.
That's not what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
I'm just, historically, I'd like to hear about the effectiveness of boycotting a vote.
Yeah, that's not all they're doing, right?
I know.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. These people are trying to overturn the state as it is, and voting is not going to be effective at doing that at this point in Venezuela. We'll give you updates on what's happening on the ground, what's coming next. It's Free Talk Live.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur. The vet wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work. So I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years.
Petey stopped eating. All his hair fell out.
Itching, licking, missing fur.
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
And then it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And all right, I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on. It was awesome.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days. I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews, here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
If you're looking for work, or even if you're not, here's an innocent mistake you really want to avoid. Never return calls before listening to your voicemail. Your wireless phone sends calls you didn't answer into voicemail, and it shows you phone numbers for calls you missed. Important. Don't call back callers you missed until you have first listened to your messages. Otherwise, you frustrate people who bothered to leave messages by asking them to repeat a message they just left as your voicemail greeting instructed them to. If you're a job applicant, this alone could be a deal killer. And even if you're not, there are few things you can convey to someone that are as fundamentally maddening as, "I didn't hear you." With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Stouffer's, helping bring your family together with wholesome dinner options, even on the busiest of nights. Find dinner table ideas to bring your family together at letsfixdinner.com. To get kids involved in dinnertime conversation, ask specific questions, not broad ones. Instead of what happened today at school, try what was the best thing that happened today. The more specific you are, the more they'll have to say. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free to join us on the radio waves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm.
It might be a little early to start thinking about getting a jacket, but you got to have a nice jacket. And that's just sort of, one of those things that you've got to have in life. That jacket might as well stop bullets. If you go to bulletblocker.com, you'll see a wide selection of clothing, backpacks, briefcases, those sort of things. It's a company that was founded by a former Army Ranger and firearms instructor with the goal of making backpacks to protect kids in case of a school shooting. Well, that company grew, and they've got all kinds of products over there now, including a bunch of nice jackets, and you can get something for yourself and something for the family too. This isn't the kind of thing that you get a second chance at. I can tell you these jackets are not inexpensive jackets, but they're a heck of a lot cheaper than a bullet. Bulletblocker.com. If the lives in your family are priceless, protect them at bulletblocker.com.
All right, so you might need one of those if you are in Venezuela right now.
Look, you might need one if you're anywhere.
Yeah, because things are pretty dangerous in the streets there as the government has banned protest for the next few days, at least. Who knows? Maybe they'll try extending it past that. I mean, people aren't obeying the protest ban. They're out in the streets. They're protesting this vote that had just finished up about 20 minutes ago. In Venezuela. We don't have any results quite yet, but ultimately the results don't matter because the opposition, by and large, was protesting this vote, considering it is heavily weighted in the side of Nicolas Maduro, who is the president of the country. But as Jose Mauricio Gaona reports over at theglobeandmail.com, dictatorship is soon to be a reality, he says, in Venezuela. He writes that Sunday's election in Venezuela of a National Constituent Assembly does not represent the very beginnings of Mr. Maduro's dictatorship, but its final ascension. In truth, the actions of Mr. Maduro's government in the past 12 months are archetypal of a dictatorship, not a democracy. Once a government turns its security forces against its own citizens and breaks the system of checks and balances between branches of power that upholds democracy, all that follows is dictatorship. In 2016, of the 21,752 homicides in Venezuela, nearly 5,000 of them were at the hands of so-called security forces.
So that's what about
a good fourth of all the homicides in the country. Since protests started on April 1st this year, and they've continued pretty much nonstop, 115 people have been killed, nearly 2,000 injured, and 4,000 detained. As Mr. Maduro appeals for reconciliation and peace, more than 400 civilians are being prosecuted before military tribunals. Just as in the dictatorships of Argentina and Chile in the 1970s and 80s, security forces in Caracas have been taking people away from their homes in the middle of the night. The NGO Foro Penal, which represents dozens of protesters currently detained, said that most detainees have been tortured by intelligence officials. In the past week alone, members of the National Guard attacked residences and assaulted civilians all over the country. As the promise of a socialist revolution leading to a redistribution of wealth among Venezuelans fades, as the reality of a dying nation gradually emerges, Mr. Maduro's government has increased the use of force to retain his power, which, of course, they have to do.
Yeah, this whole redistribution of wealth to make things fair thing, it's never worked.
No.
Because the people in, when rich people lose control of the government, they take their money and leave. Then the government attempts to install people to run whatever the systems are that the rich people left, right? Like, so if you're a rich person pick your industry, Ian, making tires, pumping oil, paper mill, you figure it out, right? Like whatever it is. And manufacturing's likely to be what we're talking about in places like Venezuela, the Soviet Union, Southeast Asia. You pick your country where socialism's been tried. Once you get this group of people that uses arms to take over the government, to take it away from the rich and powerful, and institute a new group of people, of powerful people who will soon become rich off the backs of the poor. Then they attempt to run these businesses that the rich once had. Well, the problem is you've just destroyed all the institutional knowledge.
Right. You're going to bring some bureaucrat in who's never actually run a tire manufacturer?
Well, how about somebody take down a tire manufacturing plant and put you, me, and Johnny Ray in charge of it?
Yeah,
hey,
I
look,
wouldn't know what to do.
I'm a pretty smart guy. You're a pretty smart guy. Johnny Ray, he's smarter than all of us. Why couldn't we run a tire manufacturing place?
No experience.
We have no clue how to.
Right.
So you could bring in all the people that you want to bring in to do this, and we couldn't manage it. And management has value. I don't care what you've read in your communist books about the labor theory of value. Proper management brings value to a situation.
That's a good point.
Scott Adams of Dilbert fame, according to the Dilbert principle, Mark, says that managers are selected from the least competent in order that they will not be able to do any more damage.
That's what people who work for managers tend to think. There's no doubt. But look, all you have to do
There's probably some bad managers out there.
There's a lot of bad managers, and everybody listening to me has worked with one. Yeah. Right? And the bad managers illustrate why we need good managers.
Yeah, there's good managers, too, who have no expertise necessarily in their industry, but they're great managers, and the technical experts that are under them love them for that because they know how to work with people and how to get people to work together well.
Yep. And if
That's an art, for sure.
It sure is. Because if I was in charge of managing, it would be 6 months before I'd be managing with a handgun, right? It would drive me insane because I just can't put up with people who don't do their job on their own. Like, I want to tell them sort of, one time how to do it, and then, maybe, okay, you don't get it. Let me explain it a little more deeply, and that sort of thing. But people have their own lives. They're going about, they got boyfriends, they got girlfriends, they got cats, they got dogs, they got kids, they got all the things that are going on in their lives, and making tires is not, believe it or not, for the employees that get paid to make tires, making tires is probably not their number one priority day in and day out. And as a manager, this would be very frustrating for me. I would rather make the tires and just do my job well and have the manager leave me alone than I would to aspire to the manager's position
of having to manage.
To manage them. That's all I want to do, is I just don't want to do that. I'm happy to move to another position that makes more inside the company, but please don't put me in charge of employees. because it's just not going to work out very well.
Yep, it's good to know your strengths and weaknesses. Toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us here, we're talking about the situation in Venezuela that is just getting more and more heated as time goes by, now with a basically bunk vote being taken today to create a National Assembly of so-called constituents, people that essentially agree with the president and are going to aggregate more power to him. That's basically what is expected to occur at this point. And the people that are taken to the streets do not agree with that plan. We'll tell you more about what's happening, because one guy over at the Globe and Mail says this is the beginning of Maduro's dictatorship. More coming up here in moments. You can share your thoughts on Free Talk Live.
Welcome aboard. Your new science fiction adventure is ready to launch. Discover an amazing journey at GalaxyQuestBooks.com. Start a new sci-fi adventure with the Guardian series, a classic sci-fi mystery that starts 500 years in the future. From author D. Arthur Gussner. Series available from Barnes & Noble or Amazon as paperback or ebooks. GalaxyQuestBooks.com, where the adventure begins.
Tyler, time to go for our family walk.
Just let me nap a little longer.
You promised we'd get more active.
I know. How come you're so ready to go?
It's Superberry's Aronia berries.
Aronia what?
Aronia berries from superberries.com. They're known for having one of the highest levels of antioxidants that helps with overall wellness.
Where'd you get them?
I ordered them from superberries.com/radio, and right now we can get a free smoothie recipe book with our order. Plus, we can save $4 at checkout.
I can't wait to try them. I'll get the dog.
I'll get the kids.
Choose health. Eat purple. Superberries.com.
Free Talk Live.
We have been brought forward to bring out the truth.
I knew this was
all right. What is the truth?
No, it's in the 2 books.
Oh, you've got to buy the books. Now, how much is somebody going to have to pay for these books?
It's right online, depending on what country you're in. They're $26 a piece here in the United States, including freight.
Now, why would God put books out and require people to pay for them? What's the point in that? I mean, aren't there people out there that can't afford that?
Those of us here on Earth have had to put the material together and get it copyrighted and available.
Why would God want to copyright something? What's the point of that? I mean, wouldn't God want...
Anything on this planet has to be copyrighted to be put out legally by
That's
your
not true.
government
Not true at all. Not true, sir. Nope. You can put whatever you want out there.
Explain?
No, you let me explain, because whatever you want, you can put online, and nobody's going to tell you can't do it.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free and join us on the air. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype, so Skype on in here. It's Skype username LRN.FM. Joining you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Johnny Ray,
and Mark.
We are once again updating you on what's happening in Venezuela. Why is that? Why do we pay so much attention to Venezuela on Free Talk Live? Well, because, in my opinion, it is the most prescient, the most interesting current example and tragic example of the failure of socialism, number one, but just the failure of a state in general is always instructive and interesting to watch from the outside. On the inside, it's probably terrifying, with people being dragged away in the middle of the night from their homes, with troops and just plain old thugs on the streets that have been armed by the government shooting people in cold blood. It's got to be absolutely, and also you might be starving or very hungry there, because it's almost impossible to get even the most basic of foodstuffs because of the government's controls over industry and their control over the money supply and the exchange rate. I mean, there's just so much that's wrong. There's really a lot that you can learn from.
Yeah, because the veneers keep on falling in Venezuela. The government, wherever you are right now, the government is an organization that maintains power over you, your family, your friends, and your neighbors through the use of guns and violence.
But they don't see that. The average person
They do in
doesn't.
Venezuela.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Look, in Venezuela, they see it crystal clear.
Yes.
You know why? Because the government is doing less and less of what those people want. So,
putting up the elections that seem legitimate, or courts that seem legitimate. Instead, no, you've got the Supreme Court violating its own constitution. You've got this ridiculous constitutional assembly that is, outrageous to the people on the other side.
If the government does what the majority of the people want often enough, the veneers stay up. But how does the government go about doing what a majority of the people want often enough to maintain the veneers? There's only one answer. The same way that they go about doing things in Venezuela right now. You find your most peaceful place on the planet, Switzerland, Iceland, Denmark, whatever it is. The government maintains its power with threats of violence. Very whispered threats.
Sure.
In that circumstance. Because most people don't want trouble. They don't want the trouble, and they want an orderly society.
Yep.
And the way they go about getting it is through the government. Look, I get it.
It has the appearance of order. Sure.
I'd say largely those places are pretty successful and pretty orderly.
Sure, because they've managed to fool people into believing they have a real impact, or they could have an impact on the system. Just get organized and start your own party, and then you can get in there and vote your people in and change things. And every now and then, power moves from one party to another, and so it has the feeling, just like in the United States, where it has the feeling to people who aren't paying close attention, like, oh yeah, the system's working. We've got this party in charge, but now this party is. See, people can make decisions that actually have an effect. Now, of course, the more cynical view is, well, the Republicans and Democrats in our case are basically two wings of the same big government party, and that nothing is really changing when the power changes hands.
I think people also, but more than what they want, from their government is the number one thing they want from their government is stability. And they're willing to sacrifice a great deal for that stability, whatever it might be. Now,
like their freedoms to the TSA, for instance.
So whatever it might be. So, in the case of Republicans and Democrats, I've always sort of wondered why it is they argue so vociferously about national issues. So, for instance, you can get a pretty Republican place to live by moving to Texas or Utah or, there's a variety of places that have voted red every single time and are doing pretty well. There's some places that voted red and aren't doing that well at all, like Mississippi. It's an unparticularly prosperous place. So, but you can say Texas doing pretty good. If you want to see what it's like to live in a democratic paradise, look, there are states that have been blue for a long time. Take a look at Massachusetts, California, New York, places in California. California's a really big state. It's much more. It's basically 2/3 of the western seaboard. Yep. So it's hard to call it one state, but they do. It should be broken up, frankly. And if you don't like that enough, there's Canada, which is going to be more liberal than that. Or, by God, if you want to look at Denmark and Iceland and all those other places, they're waiting for you one plane ticket away. I've always wondered. I picked up my life from Florida to move to work for more freedom here in New Hampshire and the great freedom migration that is going on and heading towards New Hampshire.
Right.
And I was willing to make that sacrifice from, frankly, one of the nicest zip codes around. Sarasota's a pretty nice place. Wouldn't you agree, Ian?
Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
Gorgeous place. Nicest beaches in America.
Plenty of money, old money down there.
Yeah,
lots of opportunity.
Things are gorgeous, but I wanted to see more freedom and see how that would work, so I picked up my life to move for that exciting opportunity, that struggle to see what would happen. And then these people complain about the government doesn't provide this, the government doesn't provide that. Pick up and move someplace where it does. By God.
If you can get there. If you're in Venezuela, I don't know how hard it is to get out of there. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. I apologize to folks who've been waiting here. I actually had the phone screening software was being covered up by something. Joe, you're on, listening in Michigan. Hello.
Hi, I just had a comment related to what Mark said about, Venezuela wanting to take over like a tire factory.
Yes.
Where does that relate to our government taking over the healthcare system and 1/6 of our economy?
Well, I suspect that you'll see the results that occur inside of these countries that attempt to take over industries inside this industry. As the government has gotten more and more involved in the healthcare industry, the costs have risen and risen. And it's difficult. I wish it didn't happen to people, but the honest to goodness raw answer is if you want lower prices in the healthcare industry, you have to have competition. And you got to rip off the Band-Aid of all the regulations, all the intrusion of the government, and then it's going to take a few years and you're going to see prices come down. We know what happens. We know. America, we know what happens when medical services compete against each other. You can look at LASIK surgery because it's an area where
very little regulation.
Yeah, very little regulation. You can look at plastic boob jobs. You can look at all this stuff. And there's plenty of competition in these areas, and prices are reasonable. It's the government that's effed this up over and over again, America. You don't have to believe me. You just have to research it. Or you could just blindly beg for the government to get involved. It's okay.
Oh, they're involved.
The rich people are just going to leave and leave you holding the bag. That's how it's going to happen.
Joe, your thoughts? Go ahead.
A long time of thinking the same thing, that the rich will always manage to get their health care. We will always provide the poor that can't afford it their health care, but that leaves a bigger and bigger middle class to pay for it all.
Yeah.
Joe,
the middle class doesn't pay much in taxes compared to the very, very wealthy. And sadly, the middle class has shrunk over the last few decades. We're working harder and harder just to stay in the same location. And I really shudder for what's going to happen to this country over the course of the next few decades.
Hey, Joe, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. Let's continue with your calls and thoughts to Scott in Massachusetts. Scott, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening, Ian, Mark, and Johnny Ray. I talk about Venezuela. Look who's calling the kettle black. Look at America. We have a dictatorship here. We have a Zionist-occupied government, and the FBI is not the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It's the Federal Bureau of Israel. And the Central Intelligence Agency is not the Central Intelligence Agency, Central Israel Agency. Let's be honest. The Federal Reserve, the money that you use every day, is a fiat currency, worthless. It's accepted because people accept it. No gold to silver. The government has a board of governors.
Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. We'll get more of Scott the Bigot coming up here in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
Investing is a long-term process. How many times can you think of in the last decade that the stock market has destroyed retirement funds for people just like you and me? For your existing IRA, you need the security that gold has provided for centuries. Remember, gold has never been worth zero. Capital Gold would like to introduce you to the Home Storage Gold IRA. It's a self-directed IRA set up with all the protection and tax benefits of an LLC. But the big difference in this IRA is you invest in gold and you hold it in your possession. You can't do that with stocks. That's security. You can transfer any type of IRA hassle-free in days. Please call right now and learn more, and we'll waive the $500 setup fee and give you a free safe to store your gold. 800-535-7789, 800-535-7789, 800-535-7789. That's 800-535-7789.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want as we are on our live Sunday edition. Ian, Jonny, Ray, and Mark in the studio here tonight. We've still got more on what's happening in Venezuela. Is this the rise of the dictatorship of Nicolas Maduro? Many would argue it was already a dictatorship, but is it going to be like the real deal now? We'll get deeper into what's going on with this ridiculous, outrageous election that they are having today, basically a sham election from top to bottom. And you're welcome to comment on that or whatever's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. We go to our paranoid, bigoted caller, Scott in Massachusetts. Now, Scott, you believe that everything in the country, the world, is controlled by Jewish people. So I guess I'm just curious, who in the Bitcoin split coming up here on Tuesday, which side are the Jewish people in control of, or are they in control of both of the sides, the SegWit 2X and the Big Blocker side?
Probably both. Wherever there's currency, where there's money involved.
So you think Satoshi Nakamoto, was he or she a Jewish person, the creator of Bitcoin?
No, they're merely Gentile fronts. You've got the Rothschilds, you've got Goldman Sachs, you've got the Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen. The Federal Reserve is really been forced upon the American people, where they have this worthless fiat currency.
Well, it's not worthless
gold,
because you can trade it for things. But yes, I understand what you're saying. Inherently, it is just a piece of paper with people's imagination behind it.
That's right. For your listeners who aren't familiar with it, Paul Warburg founded the Federal Reserve in 1913. And
wasn't it a group of men who founded the Federal Reserve?
J.P. Morgan was there. He doesn't sound Jewish.
No, he's a Gentile front. But Paul Warburg.
How come the Gentiles don't get to be in charge?
Jacob Schiff from Kunlob.
I've hung around Jewish people.
They're all Jews, and they had their hand in
Scott, hold that thought there.
America's financial system.
Scott, I've hung around Jewish people, and I didn't feel this sort of mind control you're talking about. Is it really subtle that the Jews are able to control my thoughts and thought processes?
Maybe I haven't been clear. These are international Jews I'm talking about. I'm not talking about.
But that didn't answer the question.
Look, I don't know that I've ever run across an international Jew. I don't even know that I'd be able to identify one. I'm not even sure who we're talking about here.
An international Jew would be someone like Lloyd Blankfein, who
that's a like.
Goldman
that's
Sachs.
That's not a definition. So what you've done is you've identified Lloyd Blankfein, right, and then all the Rothschilds. And I'm sure you'd toss in the Oppenheimers just for kicks.
Jamie Dimon.
Right. I'm sure you've got a list of people that you dislike.
Yes, I do.
No doubt. My question is, how do I spot one? There's probably some that aren't on the list that you've created, right?
Well, physically, if they have a big hook nose, you can. That's one way.
Thanks for the
wait,
call.
Wait. I have a question for Scott.
Go ahead.
Go on.
Scott, this is Jonny Ray. I was just looking at an abstract of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion.
This is Scott's favorite book that he's always recommending. It sounds awful.
Hooey, an old hoax.
I've never read it. I'd like to for various reasons, but I haven't, so I'm not an expert. But in this abstract that I'm looking at, a recurring theme is in several of the various protocols is that gold equals money. And
that's right.
Now is that something that you and the Elders of Zion both, is that a belief that you both share?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that the Jews have giant caches of gold, and one day when they're ready, they're going to use it to conquer the world. They already have their bankers in place. And what's going on in America now?
What are they going to do with the cachet of gold to conquer the world that they,
Who's selling gold to China and India, who are the largest purchasers of gold right now?
You've got three tenets of Jewry that are out to conquer the world: international
Indian,
Jewish finance,
Chinese, and international.
No.
Oh.
You're being sarcastic.
No, I'm not. I want to know who's selling this valuable stuff that you're talking about to people in China and India, because that's where the gold's going right now.
It could be from Goldman Sachs. It could be from the Federal Reserve.
Why would the Jews let go of their gold if this is what's going to take over the world?
Yeah. All I'm saying is that Wall Street
he doesn't have an answer
is
for you.
absolutely positively controlled by international Jewish finance.
Scott, thanks for the conspiracy theory. Appreciate it. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's not what the banker listener of ours said who came to visit us a few weeks ago. He says he's been in finance for a decade, and all the bank managers and owners, the people that he's known, have been...
Those aren't international
Christians.
Jews.
They've been Christians. Yeah. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. It's just, a convenient excuse for him. You make any kind of point that's contrary to what it's like arguing on Facebook. You make any point that's contrary to what he says, he just ignores it and moves on and, reiterates some claim about how, all those Christians that you mentioned, or those, other people who aren't Jewish who are in finance, well, clearly they're just puppets. I mean, duh. They can't think for themselves. And
right. People say the same thing about the entertainment industry. I've had people...
That it's Jewish controlled?
Yes. I've had people ask me, who tells you what to say?
Really?
What? Yes. You haven't had that happen to you
mean
at all?
people that aren't on the air, like people off the air?
Well, obviously not people on the air.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean on the radio? Yeah, people off the air have been like, huh. But,
they think you're bought and sold.
They must. Nobody's even offered me a check.
Wow. The toll-free number here tonight, 855-450, free like freedom. We're on the Genesis Communications Network, for those that don't know. That is an independently owned and operated syndication arm.
Do you think Ted Anderson
that's what I was going to
is an international Jew?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ted's a Christian. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a Christian. I mean, he and I haven't gotten into deep philosophical or theological conversations or anything like that.
No, I don't know what his specifics are, but
I get the feeling that
he's a good Swede. You know, those Nordics that move to the Midwest and talk like hoya.
That's him.
He sounds just like that.
Yep, that's right.
Pretty sure he's not an.
But he's run a gold company, Mark. Maybe that's an indicator of his Jewishness.
Yeah, whatever.
No. But anyway, Ted Anderson, great guy who's had us on his network for years. Listeners may know.
It's be over a decade.
More than, well over a decade at this point. Decade and 13 years. And
thanks, Ted.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. Thanks to all the crew over at the Genesis Communications Network, none of whom, really strike me as they don't have any of the Jewish names, right? Like I haven't seen their nose. It wouldn't
make the least bit of difference. I've met plenty of Jews in radio, plenty of Jews in entertainment generally, but no one's telling anyone what to do.
No,
and if somebody,
not here.
look, it's not unlikely that people of certain, like when the path to whatever career is careers are open to you from dent of your birth, just happen to be what they are. So I'm sure that people who are that they're born Jewish are more likely to look at things like entertainment, doctors, finance, diamonds, and a few other things as the family business areas that they're liable to be able to get into and do well. That kind of thing. So what?
Radio's for people that don't have any real talent. I mean, they don't want to actually work for a living. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't talented people in radio, but they tend to be lazy, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yesterday, this weekend, I'll say, I was listening to some Phil Hendry archives. And he said, if you want to go and be bored out of your mind, go to a party with a bunch of talk radio show hosts because they don't know anything about anything.
I love Phil Hendry, man. Are you still listening to his podcast? Is he still doing that?
No. Like we've talked about this before, when he doesn't have the callers calling in as sort of like a wild card that his characters can play off of, it's too. It's just too, I don't know, reductive, cyclical.
Too much Phil. Too much.
It's a bunch of
Phil talking to himself.
It's a bunch of Phil squabbling with himself.
Yeah, which is fun. It's fun for a while. Anyway,
it's amazing. He's amazingly talented.
Phil Hendry, for listeners that don't know, is a former syndicated talk show host, now gone into the podcast world, who made a name for himself by doing voices. He himself doing voices and talking to himself on the radio.
Doing interviews of himself.
And then having people call in who ostensibly did not know that they were talking to the host as the guest. And then he just trolls him incessantly. It's basically like listening to a reverse phone prank for 2 hours.
Right, because the victim calls in.
Right.
The victim chooses volunteers to participate.
But the problem is,
that's why it's okay with me. I'm sorry to cut you off there, Mark. I don't like prank call shtick, but I love Phil Hendry because the people are bringing it on.
Yeah, that's true. Called in. They're callers, and what he's pointing out is the talk radio callers. There's a certain segment of them that are nuts.
Sure. Probably a good chunk of them.
What?
You have to be crazy to want to.
Why doesn't Phil Hendry, who's thick in talent, right? Thick in talent. Yep. Why isn't he on the radio today?
Because he's an a-hole.
You can't get along with him.
Bitterness.
Yeah.
He's very protective of his content. He won't allow people to share it.
Yeah. It's a shame. It's too bad. He's the Metallica of talk radio. 855-450 free like freedom. 85 just so talented, but also so wrong in how he puts his stuff out there. 855-450 free like freedom. You join us here. Hour 2's on the way. It's Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought about mining Bitcoin? Did the costs, constant equipment upgrades, and maintenance scare you off? Do you want to make Bitcoin every day in the same mining pool that Ian and I do? Pool.bitcoin.com. There's a 100% uptime guarantee. The website's easy to use, and you can calculate what you're going to make right there on the website at pool.bitcoin.com. Help steer Bitcoin towards the liberating currency that Satoshi Nakamoto meant it to be. I'm not just making money at pool.bitcoin.com. I'm doing activism while I sleep. Pool.bitcoin.com.
I wish that we would have started the Dynovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of NomoFlea free.
NomoFlea flea spray kills fleas safely with no poison.
Because it's a polypeptide protein molecule made from
vegetable oil.
Try NomoFlea.
Free this week at Dynovite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynovite.
Dynovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, July 30th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.76 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,270 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 6.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,686. Antiwar.com reports with overwhelming majorities in both the House and the Senate passing it, the Russian sanctions bill is headed to the desk of President Trump, and the White House has issued a statement confirming that he will sign the bill. This was not unexpected, as despite Trump's reticence about the bill's limitations on him lifting sanctions in the future, the veto-proof majorities would have doomed any veto attempt to end in embarrassing failure. Instead, Trump appears to be trying to make the best of it, praising the bill for having responded to his concerns, despite the alterations made to the bill not having anything to do with his concerns about presidential powers. This stands in contrast to White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci, who only days ago said Trump might veto the sanctions and then unilaterally impose even tougher sanctions against the Russians, seemingly just to try to outdo Congress. Ultimately, the administration appears to have decided against this. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. UPI reports a federal judge this week ruled against a Virginia public official, saying she violated the First Amendment right of a constituent when she blocked on Facebook, a case that could affect politicians all the way up to President Donald Trump. The plaintiff in the case, Brian Davison, sued Loudoun County Board of Supervisors chairwoman Phyllis Randall after she blocked him from a Facebook page she promoted as a vehicle to communicate with constituents. Davison used the page to accuse members of the Loudoun County School Board of official corruption. Randall deleted the post and blocked Davison from viewing any subsequent post. District Court Judge James Kacharis ruled in Davison's favor, finding Randall violated Davison's First Amendment rights by blocking him from reading government information that was otherwise available to the public. The judge said Randall did not have the right to ban Davison from accessing public information because she was offended by his criticism of her colleagues in the county government. He ruled that because Randall used her Facebook page to disseminate information about government, blocking users was a cardinal sin under the First Amendment. A similar similar suit had been filed against Trump by a First Amendment group on behalf of hundreds of Twitter users. Trump has blocked from his personal Twitter account at Real Donald Trump. Trump has frequently used his personal Twitter account rather than the official at POTUS account as a means for proclamations about government business. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports aviation authorities were ordered back to the drawing board on Friday to solve what a federal judge called the case of the incredible shrinking airline seat. Judge Patricia Millett told the Federal Aviation Administration to take another look at advocacy groups' assertions that shrinking airline seats are imperiling passenger safety. The judge rejected the FAA's argument that seat size was unimportant to getting off the plane in an emergency situation. All three judges on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit agreed the FAA must conduct a review of the request for regulation setting a minimum airline seat size, but Judge Judith Rogers dissented from part of the court's rationale. Airline seats have steadily decreased in size over the last several decades. Economy class seat pitch has decreased from an average of 35 inches in the 1970s to 31 inches, and in some airplanes, 28 inches. Seat pitch is the distance from one seat to the same spot on the seat in front or behind. Average seat width has also narrowed over the last decade from about 18 inches to 16.5 inches. Critics accuse airlines of being more interested in profit than passenger health and safety. FAA spokesman Greg Martin wrote in an email that the agency does consider seat pitch in testing and assessing the safety evacuation of commercial passenger aircraft, adding, "We are studying the ruling carefully and any potential actions we may take to address the court's findings." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
From 1941, when an amoeba became the first single-celled organism to play professional baseball, to 1794, when Thomas Jefferson more than likely did something historically significant. The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On May 25, 1925, Tennessee teacher John T. Scopes was formally indicted for teaching the theory of evolution in a public school after a monkey called to the stand failed to turn into a human.
Sir, you have been on the witness stand for a full 3 hours now. And in this time, we haven't seen you lose any of your hair or shed your tail. Can you at least articulate a single justifiable reason why Mr. Darwin's theory should even be mentioned in our nation's classrooms?
And on May 27, 1995, actor Christopher Reeve came in last place in a horseback riding event.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free as we launch into the second hour of this program. Live Sunday edition of the show. We still have more to talk about with the supposedly coming dictatorship in Venezuela. An update on what's been going on there with the historic, horrible sham vote happening today, where essentially Nicolas Maduro is going to be aggregated even more power to himself after the Constitution is rewritten.
Arrogated.
Oh, thank you.
Arrogated, says Johnny Ray.
Arrogate more power to himself. And it's Ian, Johnny Ray, and Mark in the studio here tonight. Let's go to your calls and thoughts first, though, where JTK, or John, is, I think, on the line here in Nevada. Hey, John.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Great interview you had yesterday with Roger Ver.
Thanks.
Absolutely fantastic.
You wouldn't be surprised how many people are upset about the interview.
Are there people upset?
Didn't bother to call in. Like, I get one of the most important people in Bitcoin that has lovers and haters all over the place, and none of the haters call in.
Well, to be fair, Mark, one critic did say we did not promote in advance very well on Roger's appearance, and that's true.
We did not promote heavily, that's for sure. But we don't generally promote interviews too heavily.
I generally find that if I promote an interview in advance, that it gets canceled on me, and then we end up looking bad when the person has to put it off another couple of days or whatever. But you did actually post about it during the interview, and it was a 2-hour-long interview.
I posted.
Oh, was it beforehand?
But I kept sharing it while the interview was going on.
And the thing with Roger is, anytime Roger's name pops up on the internet, especially anything he posts, and I suspect he posted something somewhere too. In fact, I'm sure he did. I know I saw it. I think it might have been on either Steemit or his Twitter. But either way, I think he did post something about it. And anytime he posts something, the haters are all over him, like white on rice.
Flies on stuff.
Yeah. So again, it's pretty lame that they claim that they want to call him out, but they don't actually do that when they have the chance to have a real conversation with the guy. And I understand, the typical response is, oh well, Roger, who, by the way, listeners who don't know, we're talking about, it's Roger Ver, aka Bitcoin Jesus, huge advocate for the Bitcoin world. And,
AKA you memory dealers.
That's right. And a lot of people hate him. A lot of people hate him for taking sides in this ongoing Bitcoin geek war that has been going on. And one of the other excuses I saw was, well, I've sent Roger a message and he blocked me on Facebook or blocked me on Twitter or whatever, so he doesn't want to have a conversation. Well, guess what? If you get him on the phone, he doesn't know who you are. You've got an open phones radio show here where you can say anything that you want to, as long as it's not the F word or the S word.
And here's a little surprise for you. Facebook and Twitter aren't actually conversations.
Right.
Facebook and Twitter are a way to sort of blast out a message, and then once you get down in the trenches and start fighting with the trolls, you've lost. There's no particular reason to do that. Roger Ver posts stuff and then leaves. He doesn't even respond to it. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, no, as far as Roger goes and the haters, I don't understand completely what's going on there. All I know is Roger Ver is clearly a sane person, intelligent, and acting in good faith. And, and he's getting slagged for I don't know what.
It doesn't mean he's right, right? Like,
no,
sane,
I'm not saying
intelligent,
he's right.
And acting in good faith is all that a man can do, right? Like, that's all you can ever ask from a person.
Yeah, he stands up for what he believes in. He puts his money where his mouth is.
And then after that,
wrong.
History just has to see whether you're right or wrong.
And we're going to find out a lot about that coming up here in less than 48 hours, because this Bitcoin hard fork is slated, according to Coin.dance, which is a cool little website that helps visualize some of the things going on with Bitcoin technically. They've actually got a countdown to the Bitcoin Cash hard fork. As we are speaking right now, we are about 36 hours away from that happening. So we're going to know for sure whether, or more so, whether this Bitcoin Cash experiment, this fork from Bitcoin, where Bitcoin is basically splitting into two. So if you have Bitcoin right now in a wallet that you control the private keys to, coming up after about 36 or so more hours, you're going to have that same amount of Bitcoin, the original Bitcoin, and then you're going to have this new Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Cash. And whether or not people respect it as Bitcoin is going to be another question. Some people are saying, oh, it's just an altcoin. It's not going to have much support behind it. And we don't know. Right now, it doesn't look like it. Shapeshift.io's Eric Voorhees got on Twitter today saying that he's going to dump all of his Bitcoin Cash as soon as he gets his hands on it. And he's not the only one who's planning on doing that. Other people are saying they're going to dump the original Bitcoin. People like me who don't take I don't take a side in this particular conflict necessarily. I don't know what the future holds. I'm just going to hang on for the ride and see what happens.
I saw that Jax is supporting BCC.
They are going to implement the Bitcoin Cash into Jax, but it's probably not going to be the day of the split, so it may be a few days after that. Not sure exactly when that's going to be done. But yeah, if you've got your Bitcoin in Jax, at some point it will, Jax will be updated, and then it'll split off into the equivalent amount of Bitcoin Cash. And I've heard people.
I think it's worth pointing out that Bitcoin Cash, if you're going to call it, because it's going to be its own coin relatively soon. In 36 hours, it's going to be its own coin. It doesn't matter whether you call it a clone. It doesn't matter whether you call it a split,
a fork of Bitcoin.
A fork, whatever you call it, whatever the terminology is. It is going to be its own coin in 36 hours, and that coin, according to the futures price right now at CoinMarketCap.com. That's the futures price, but there are places where you can currently trade your future Bitcoin.
Right.
And it's at this point it's trading between 800, according to Roger Ver, 800 and like 300, and it's difficult to know what it's going to
end up.
But this is undeniably, by market cap, undeniably. I don't care what side you come on. This is a fact. It is a top 5 coin.
If it opens at the prices it's currently trading
before it even really exists.
Yep, yeah, that's true. And there's a lot of people
Why would it not open at the prices that it's currently trading at?
So
Ian?
Here's some. Well,
that's not how the futures market works.
Well, first of all, it's going to open at whatever price it's currently trading at on the time that it happens, which is going to be different from what it is right now. So it's not going to open at the price whatever it is right now.
It's traded between 3 and
trading's going to get
6.
The trading's probably going to get even crazier as we get even closer to this magical point.
And I suspect you'll see a dip because a lot of people will dump it. It'd be a guess.
We don't know. We don't know how many people are going to dump what. That's why it's going to be an interesting day on Tuesday when this all goes down. It's noon.
A lot of people lose their shorts in futures markets.
It's expected to happen at 12:20 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.
If it's not dangerous enough for you, try the derivative markets.
It's supposed to go down. The split is supposed to happen at 12:20 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on Tuesday. So it's going to be like 8:20 in the morning Eastern Time, as I understand it, when that happens here. One of the interesting things that's been going on, and I don't know if this has affected you at all, John, but our co-host Daryl W. Perry, he has been trying to get his Bitcoin out of Coinbase, and he's not the only one. Coinbase is so backed up with withdrawal requests that they are not processing them. Daryl's gone on now more than 30 hours waiting for a simple Bitcoin withdrawal. And that has led to some very interesting speculation as to whether or not Coinbase actually has the Bitcoin that they say that they have. Have they lent it out, perhaps? Have they done things with your Bitcoin if you are a Coinbase customer?
Oh, Coinbase, how do I hate thee? Let me count the ways.
Go ahead, John.
We saw a really bad sign. We went to take some Bitcoin out of Coinbase. Not a lot, but for the very first 2 days ago.
Okay.
And for the very first time, the question was, well, what are you going to do with this? Where is it going to go? We're going, what? What business is that of yours? But so they said, so are you sending it to another exchange or what? And we said, no, not to another exchange. And they said, well, we're not sure about that. We're going to have to take 72 hours to think about this.
Whoa.
And who's this?
So,
Coinbase.
Oh, man.
Coinbase. So that was a really bad sign. I don't know how that'll turn out, but it's troubling.
So you're still waiting.
I have never. I don't even have a Coinbase account. Never opened one.
Wow. Good luck, John. I don't know if there was more that you were calling.
Have more?
I did have a point about some of your callers yesterday.
Stand by. We're going to continue here with John in Nevada. Your calls and thoughts are also welcome. 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Daryl did just report that after more than 30 hours of waiting, his Coinbase transaction finally did clear.
Woo!
There's more coming up. Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. you have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free here. Bring up anything you want. Live Sunday edition of the show. You can take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, you've got Ian,
Jonny Ray,
and Mark.
We're going to continue with your calls and thoughts here. We've got John still with us in Nevada. We're going to bring him back, but also I do want to let you know about the mining pool over at pool.bitcoin.com. Now, right now, you can only mine the old Bitcoin, but coming up in about 36 hours, there's going to be another option available where you could then mine the new Bitcoin Cash if you wanted over at pool.bitcoin.com. You can go there and learn how you can make money just by investing into this. You don't have to know how to mine. You don't have to know the technical aspects. You don't have to run a server or any of the, the confusing crap that comes along with mining. You can just pay them to do it for you, and then they pay you back. That's the idea. You can have some idea of what you could make when you use their calculator over at pool.bitcoin.com. That's pool.bitcoin.com. But if you are one of those technically adept miner types and you do know what you're doing, you can also join pool.bitcoin.com and get the biggest payout in the industry. Currently, I think at 110%, although Roger said they may have to reduce that here shortly. But either way, you can get behind the folks over at pool.bitcoin.com with your miner. Or again, if you're not a miner and you just want to get into it, you can invest in that, and it's super easy to do. Mark and I have both done it. Pool.bitcoin.com. As we go to your calls, or back to your calls, John in Nevada, you're back on Free Talk Live.
Hi, guys. You had a couple callers yesterday with Roger Ver, and they were having a problem with a thing a lot of people have a problem with, understandably, and they can't wrap their heads around what is Bitcoin backed by, or isn't the fact that it seems to be backed by nothing, isn't that really scary? And you guys gave great answers. Roger Ver gave great answers. But there's one little thing that I would have added, and it won't be new to you, I don't think. But
it might be new to our listeners, so please go ahead.
It might be new to some listeners. When they say, well, money should be backed by gold or silver, the next question is, well, what's gold backed by? And, gold was money thousands of years ago before it had any industrial uses. The only things you could do with it were like make pretty things out of it. You couldn't eat it. It didn't make good weapons. So what was it backed by? Well, it wasn't backed by anything. But it had certain qualities which are good to make it money, and Bitcoin has all the same qualities.
More so.
Has most of the same qualities that make it good. Now, people ask, well, I want something I can hold in my hand, and I can understand that. You can hold a gold coin in your hand, but why is it important to be able to hold it in your hand? Well, if you hold it in your hand, you know that you have this and nobody else does. And that's a really important property of money. But if you look at the math of Bitcoin, you realize that it gives you exactly the same functionality. If you hold the keys, if you have the keys in your possession, then the money is yours and no one else has it.
That's right.
So I think you have to ask people to get them to think about, what is gold backed by? What is silver backed by? And then they realize it's not backed by anything. It's just an appropriate commodity for money. And so is Bitcoin.
Well, so
that's one way to look at it.
I agree with everything you've said. I must say, from a sort of emotional, visceral level, that I find opening my Bitcoin cold storage wallet, which I don't have access to on a day-to-day basis, but if I have to, for whatever reason, get into it, I go through the practices of doing it. I can only do it during the daytime, and those a few things that impediments I've put for myself to keep it secure. But when I do, get into this thing, I'm terrified. My heart is racing. I just want the numbers to show up on the screen the way I remember them to being on the screen.
What if you've been hacked?
Yeah, what if, right. What does hacked even mean to somebody like me? I'm just afraid all the time of the internet, right?
But you don't feel the same way with gold in a safe or something.
If I had gold in a safe in my house and I could turn the dials, I would know that the gold was still there in that safe. Now, my house would then be open to looters. They say gold is the currency of kings. Well, that's because kings ultimately always end up with it. The government confiscated gold in the 1930s from people, and if you had gold in your house, frankly, you could expect a visitor.
The American government.
Yeah, the American government did that. You could expect a visitor if people knew about it. So, but anyway, if the gold was there, I would be confident that it was in the safe, whereas for me, opening up a Bitcoin wallet that hasn't been opened in 3 months, 4 months, 6 months.
Confidence.
I do not have the same confidence. It's been there. It's always been there.
And that learning curve is intimidating for anybody. Even though Bitcoin is today a lot easier to use, a lot easier to back up. It's a lot easier to get those keys and write them down. With the 12 words, for instance, the old keys used to just be a jumble of characters. Would have been impossible to write that down. So they've made it easier over time, but there's still a learning curve. People don't feel comfortable. It is new technology, so there's a lot more that the average person has to get over and come to grips with something like this. They're entering new territory, even though, as you point out, John, it's very similar territory in a lot of ways to gold. You can draw parallels to it. That doesn't make it feel any less intimidating to the average person.
Oh, it's totally true that Bitcoin is still very complicated and a pain in the neck to administer, especially, if you're dealing with more than a few dollars of it and, you worry about it. It's totally understandable. And it is too complicated for most people now. And there's a lot of advances that need to be made in making it much easier for people. But I expect those to come. But, I was just responding to the fundamental objections that people have. What is it backed by? Why can't I hold it in my hands? But
Thank you.
No, the practical problems are still there, and they're very real. And I can't possibly recommend it to everybody because I know a lot of people just don't want that much complication in their life.
Yep, it's true. Hey, John, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. It's definitely not right for everybody. There's no doubt about it. But not all forms of money are right for everybody. Some business owners don't want to take credit cards. They don't want to deal with having to pay the 3% fee, or they don't want small dollar transactions on their credit cards. There's all kinds of objections out there. But it is important to understand how to overcome some of the basic ones, and I'm glad he called in about that. I don't disagree with what he said, but I also think that you can claim that Bitcoin is backed by something sort of in the same way that gold and silver are backed by their usefulness in the marketplace. Now, his point was that originally they weren't that useful. They were just pretty to look at. Since then, we've determined that gold's a good conductor, and there's all kinds of the malleability is good for certain things.
It's resistant to corrosion.
Yeah, so there's definitely more industrial uses now for these things.
Its industrial uses weren't laid out by the Sumerians.
Right, but they are useful, and that is one of the reasons why it has the value that it does. And Bitcoin's sort of, you could say, is also backed by its network. So Bitcoin is two things primarily. Bitcoin is the currency and it's the network. So imagine the way it's expressed on paper is big B Bitcoin means the whole concept of Bitcoin, the network and the currency included.
Right.
The idea of Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin with a little b is the currency only. So I'm going to give you some Bitcoin. That would be Bitcoin with a little b.
Some people try to say bits.
The Bitcoin network is valuable because it's secure, it's global, it's decentralized. That's one of the reasons why Bitcoin is worth what it is, because it does what it says it's going to do. It allows people to transfer value around the globe relatively quickly. More coming up here. 855-450 free.
If there's a toxic chemical, biological, gas, smoke emergency while traveling, at home, or on your job, are you protected? Are you prepared? There are over 400,000 fires in the USA every year. Up to 85% of all deaths in a fire are due to smoke inhalation. 3 minutes without air, and we as humans will die. Be prepared and escape safely with our Safe Escape smoke hoods, giving you up to 60 minutes of breathable air protection. Order yours online at ase-safety.com. That's ase-safety.com. And get up to 40% off, plus free shipping.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those 2 tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. We invite you here on the radio to take control of the airwaves at 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're back on the topic of Bitcoin, even though last night we spent a solid 2 hours on this subject with Roger Ver.
It's important right now, right? Isn't it important? I mean, you know, in 30 hours, Bitcoin, this amazing thing that we've been talking about for now years, went from 27 cents when we started talking about it in the beginning of 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Roger Ver claimed that we talked about it in 2010, and I wouldn't be able to dispute that. I don't know.
I believe him.
Yeah, I'm sure we did. We talk about stuff like this.
Yep.
But 27 cents to $2,700 today.
It's huge.
I want to know what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks. I'm dying to know, but I'm only going to find out. I'm currently traveling into the future 1 second at a time, right? And that's the best I can do.
So, we've been following it pretty closely here, and we're going to continue to do that. We'll get back into your calls and thoughts as well. But, Mark, folks have been donating with Bitcoin to the hope.freetalklive.com, the fundraiser that you've been primarily promoting. We've been promoting here on Free Talk Live, to build an orphanage for about 45 or so youngsters in Uganda.
Yep. Well, there's about 45 orphans in Uganda currently sleeping on the floor in a room, an earthen floor, in a room with no electricity. It's big enough to hold them, but they're sleeping head to toe.
Wow.
If they've got to get up and use the bathroom in the middle of the night, they got to step.
Luck.
Yeah, they got to tiptoe in between their friends' feet.
That sounds even worse than when I was in the holding cell at jail.
It is worse than holding cells.
Yeah.
I think it's probably not as mean as holding cells, is my guess. These kids are always sending me videos, singing.
Oh,
how happy they are. They're just happy, singing African kids, and they're living in
a
squalor.
new pair of used shoes will make these kids happy, right?
Right, that's the kind
their
of
perspective. They don't have first world problems.
Right, that's the kind of happiness
problems
that they have, and it's amazing to see. If you want to give a little something to these people that are that just have this kind of joy, and so that they can have a bed to sleep in, a place to wash their face so they can go to school. They're all going to school. They're all got their books. They're currently getting enough food. Things are good. But I want to see this building built. Now, we should see construction begin again the week coming. What happened was we had to wait for a whole bunch of cement to dry, and the construction workers, as construction workers do, went on to other things. They know they have to come back, but they have not yet been able to schedule the construction workers to come back. So, it should be getting anew this week, and I'm really excited to see it. They take Sunday very seriously in Uganda, and so nothing's happening today, I can assure you.
Indeed. So check out hope.freetalklive.com. And the tripling is still available, correct?
That's right. Thank you for the reminder. So Cell 401 and Jax.io are both matching the funds of anyone who donates, effectively tripling your donation. That means in order to get every phase is about $3,000 is what I'm doing. That means all I have to do is raise $1,000.
Awesome.
Right. Thanks to
we can do that.
The big donor of $267 that finished out the last phase, and we're bringing we're getting ready for the next phase.
260, so that tripled.
Right.
That's awesome.
Isn't it amazing?
Incredible.
It's like,
more than $750.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, so it's Ian, Johnny, Ray, and Mark in the studio. Let's go to the phones, to the fun. David is in San Francisco. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, David.
Oh, yeah. Howdy, y'all.
Hey.
I was kind of interested in the just the general theory of money. If you think about it, and in fact, one of your earlier callers raised this, that, in the history of money, gold was chosen because it doesn't rust. And, since you had pirates and plunderers and kings and changes of government and all sorts of different things, you could bury a sack of gold in your backyard and it wouldn't rust, and it would be there 40 years later without losing an ounce.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole idea of having some stability when political instability existed, that was the lure of gold. But as you're talking about whether the computer currencies or various other attempts at trying to create products or goods, inducing people to means of exchange. If you think about money as reputation, so if you're a good contractor, or if you're a good talk show host, if you're a good doctor, your reputation is really what your pile of money represents. And
sure, generally you're not going to get a pile of money if you hurt people or screw them over for very long, unless you're a politician.
And don't play your ads.
Right. So, but the problem is that if somebody comes along and grabs your sack of money, or embezzles your bank account, or in some way manipulates your value, and in my eyes, one of the biggest scandals, I think I've talked to you before about LIBOR. The London Interbank Offer Rate, where you think about money as if you've got a great reputation, your interest rates, if you borrow money, your interest rates should be very low. And the idea that the Federal Reserve can just arbitrarily come along and tell the entire United States that interest rates are going to rise in a generalized way, as opposed to allowing people with good reputations and good...
As opposed to allowing the market to decide what rates should be.
Well, but when the markets... if you just think about what you're saying there, the markets can decide to trash somebody's reputation. If you've got a good doctor that's never been sued and doesn't have accidents and keeps a clean clinic, their reputation shouldn't change at all. Except for the better in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody decides to have market forces with doctors, and basically one of the real reasons why we've got medical problems to this day is all of the small practitioners were hit hard by corruption in the insurance industry, or in the insurance field, which basically jacked up malpractice insurance for small practitioners. And it was done basically in a criminal syndicate sort of way.
Well, that's what happens
HMOs.
when you have government regulation that regulates a business. It keeps people out. The insurance business is one of the most highly regulated businesses out there, and it's had all kinds of consolidation as a result of that. And when you consolidate a business like that down to only a handful of players, you shouldn't be surprised when corruption results from the lack of competition.
Well, don't forget that the judicial system's a monopoly. I mean... That's what we're talking about here, is people being
well,
sued.
That even gets into another layer. If I could finish my point, though, about medicine. You had a bunch of single practitioners that were working just fine. They might have been the only doctor in town, and all of a sudden the HMOs in the county seat decided they wanted to crush all of the doctors and force them to join their HMO. They did it. And back in the late 70s and early 80s and basically through the 90s, the insurance companies were jacking the malpractice insurance and crushing the small practitioners. And that's one of the reasons why, we've got corporate health care right now. It's not
well, sure, and big loves big, and the government is big, and they love their big business buddies, so they all, protect one another and, drive out the little guy, drive out the competitor. Unfortunately, people seem to think the government's going to be able to fix this problem with some sort of reorganization of their system, but it's ultimately not going to, as long as they're still the ones who are in charge, as long as there's not a free market in healthcare, and there has not been in my lifetime, and probably my parents' lifetime before that. As long as that doesn't exist, we're going to continue to see skyrocketing healthcare costs, fewer and fewer choices in the marketplace, more consolidation in the insurance industry, to the point where the government ends up taking it over, and then things are going to get, if they could get worse, they will get worse once that happens. Hey, thank you, David, for the call tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733.
Yeah, everyone will have the same crappy healthcare, and innovation will basically be stifled.
And then they'll start killing babies because they'll decide, like they did over in the UK recently.
What was the name of that child?
Charlie Gard.
Yeah, he's dead now, by the way.
Yeah, he died.
After the government there decided that he wasn't important enough to go ahead and give a procedure to that.
Well,
and
the parents had gotten their own funding for this.
Right, they were going to take him to the U.S., but they wouldn't let him leave the hospital.
Because they don't want to see innovation.
Yeah, there's more coming up here. 855-450, free like freedom. You can join us on the radio. It's Free Talk Live.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. healthexcellenceselect.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-765-9681 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-765-9681. Again, that's 800-765-9681.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
All right. I don't know where our music bed is. Oh, there it is. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, it is Free Talk Live. We're doing the live Sunday edition of the show. You can take control of the airwaves here at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian. Oh, hey, Johnny, try that one more time.
You've got Ian, Johnny Ray, and Mark Edge.
That's right. We'll take your calls about anything here. Still to come, more on Venezuela. We've been sidetracked into a conversation about Bitcoin, which is the hot topic in a lot of circles right now. A lot of people, of course, are still brand new to Bitcoin. They have no idea what forks are or, what really Bitcoin even means. They might have heard about it. If you're a listener of Free Talk Live for a little while, you probably heard a lot about it. So you probably are, unless it's your first night listening, you're probably more informed than the average person.
A friend asked
Bitcoin.
me if he should get into Bitcoin now or wait until
Good question.
all these forks occur.
I would say the price is probably going to drop. I mean, if the fork happens and people start dumping these things for sale, it'll probably drop the price. Who knows?
I would guess that, but
we've never been through this before. This is uncharted territory.
Do you want to be before, into the stock before the stock splits or after?
Yeah,
before?
good point.
They definitely want to. Your friend should get in now.
That's what I told him. Look, you listening, you're not my friend. But this is what I told my friend, a guy I've known for, 15 years, maybe a bit longer. And, his wife and my wife talk weekly.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give him bad advice. That's the advice I gave him because I believe that things are going to shake out well.
Well, it's advice, but you don't know whether it's bad or not until things happen.
It's not malicious,
right? You weren't intending to hurt him, but if the price falls and Bitcoin never recovers, then he'll be feeling sorry at that point.
He should try to determine how much he would spend initially on an initial investment, and then cut that in half. And buy some half before and half after.
I would. Ooh, I'd do that. I'd put it all in now. If you're going to buy after anyway?
The downside is if the price drops after the split, then you're losing money.
The price is probably going to drop because you're getting 2 coins for the price of 1. Now the question is if it doesn't drop by the full amount of both coins, then you have made money. Does that make sense?
If you buy before the split and then you double your Bitcoin.
If Bitcoin is at 2,500 now. Per Bitcoin. And then it splits, and Bitcoin Cash is $500, and Bitcoin Legacy is $2,200. Then there's $200 that was created out of nothing by being in on it. Then it splits again, and people are like, everything went fine, so you're probably not going to see as big of a price drop on either side. So then there's more money created. I'm just saying...
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hold.
Yeah, that's the thing. If the prices do go down, and I would say it's likely that at least one of them is going to go down from its initial point after the split, But if the prices do go down, with Ethereum, when it split last year, which is the number 2 competitor to Bitcoin right now, both Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, both versions of the split, both went down in price, pretty big time. And then over the next year,
immediately.
The next year, they came up dramatically.
Yeah, but they went down, found a sort of equilibrium, really low prices, and then they both shot to the moon. And
over time, but yes, it's gotten very good.
Right.
Since then, they've come down a little bit.
If the Ethereum fork is instructive on what the Bitcoin fork is going to do, my advice remains: hold.
Yeah. Hold on, right? Hold on for the ride.
Hold.
Don't let the down price freak you out, because it may be coming back up shortly.
Right. There are people in the Bitcoin sphere that are saying to sell, and many of these people are friends and incredibly intelligent. And what did John say? Intelligent. They've goodwill. Like these.
Not insane. Yeah.
Right. Sane, intelligent, and of goodwill.
Are they saying sell all Bitcoin or just sell the Bitcoin Cash?
Or sell, there's other people out there that are saying sell Bitcoin. So, I haven't.
On the fear that the price will go down.
None of them are my friends, by the way. But yeah, I don't know. But
we don't know. That's for sure.
These people are giving their best advice too.
Yeah,
I say hold.
I say hold. That's always been a good strategy.
Selling the coin has always stung.
Yeah.
Right. The price has been kind of swingy the past week or so as we get to August, but it's swingy in kind of a narrow range, fairly near the all-time high.
That's true.
Which tells me that when the split happens, something's going to the moon. I don't know what.
Who knows, man? Because, maybe Ethereum won't be instructive on how this is going to work. Maybe that's going to work differently than how the Bitcoin split is going to work. Certainly seems like it could be the same kind of thing where when it splits, both go down and then maybe they'll both come back up. Or maybe one will get squished out of existence by an attack from one chain to the other. Like there's the possibility of an attack out there, but as Roger pointed out last night, it's not likely. Or maybe it was Anthony DiOrio, one of those two. We've been talking Bitcoin nonstop here on Free Talk Live. Of course, if you want us to talk about something else, you're always welcome to call in and take control of the airwaves here, toll free at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. You know what? There was actually one other point that I thought was worth mentioning about this Coinbase situation. So for listeners that don't know, Coinbase is, to their credit, one of the most popular and simple ways to get cheap Bitcoin. You can jump through their hoops, identify yourself, connect your bank account, and they'll let you buy Bitcoin any day of the week at 1% over the market price. Now, again, there's no privacy involved in this. They know who you are. They might report you to the government. Coinbase is a very obedient, regulated entity. They love government regulation. They love the state. They want to be regulated. They want to be legitimate and all that. Well, now Coinbase, this massive institution in Bitcoin, this is the place where a lot of people get their start. They create a wallet on Coinbase. They
a lot
buy
of people
some
don't
Bitcoin.
leave it either.
Right. But as we pointed out, Coinbase...
It is the Bank of America of Bitcoin.
Basically now, yeah. Coin with a lot smaller amounts of money. But yes, they're big. In the Bitcoin world, they're big. Probably a fraction of what Bank of America is as far as their wealth. But Coinbase sent out a notice earlier this week to their customers saying, hey, look, we're not going to support this Bitcoin Cash, the fork of Bitcoin that's supposed to be happening on Tuesday morning. We're not going to support this. If you want to get Bitcoin Cash, because again, if you're holding Bitcoin before the fork and then you still have it after the fork, then you get the equivalent amount of Bitcoin Cash. Not if your coins are on Coinbase. Coinbase is not going to support it, which means that you will not get Bitcoin Cash. So there's this run on Coinbase, basically. They probably thought, oh, no one cares about this. This isn't going to be that big of a deal, but it turns out there's so many people trying to withdraw their Bitcoin from Coinbase that Coinbase isn't able to fulfill the withdrawals, leading to people to fulfill them quickly. Because normally when you withdraw from Coinbase, it's like, pretty quick. It's your standard Bitcoin transaction time, very, very fast. But Daryl Perry, our co-host, had just finished waiting more than 30 hours for them to finally withdraw his Bitcoins. And he's not the only one. Many people are seeing very, very lengthy delays, more than half a day or a day or so in delays before their coins come out, leading people to wonder what's going on. Why don't they have the Bitcoin that people are expecting them to have? They should just be able to fulfill these orders. This isn't that big of a deal. It's not like they can point to the Bitcoin network and say, oh, the Bitcoin network's full. Because I checked the mempool earlier today, and it's barely got anything in it. Now, the mempool is the place where Bitcoin transactions go that are kind of stuck meaning they don't have a high enough fee associated with them to get them through the network, to get them processed and into a block onto the blockchain, which is this distributed ledger that backs Bitcoin. The mempool for a long time this year had been very, very busy, had been full of transactions waiting to get through it. But right now, go look up mempool chart for Bitcoin. I mean, it was down just above zero today. It was like at 100 something kilobytes. It was lower than I'd seen it. So Coinbase cannot say that this is the Bitcoin network's transaction problem. That they can't put it off on the Bitcoin network. This is Coinbase's problem. And it doesn't make any sense except for when you think maybe they don't have the Bitcoins that they are supposed to be holding for you, like a bank that takes money and loans it out. Maybe Coinbase was making loans with your Bitcoin without you being aware of it, expecting that there wouldn't be a run on their bank, so to speak. But now there is, and they aren't making people whole as quickly as they want to be, which is going to leave a lot of people very angry about this. And the thing that I thought was worth pointing out was it's particularly interesting that Coinbase is a regulated entity, showing that despite all their regulation and all the government agencies that they've gone begging to show how honest they are and how good they are and how obedient that they are. Look, we've jumped through all these hoops. We've got one of the 3-bit licenses in New York State. We're obedient. We're Coinbase. Go regulation, which is what they've been arguing for. They want more regulation of their business. But it's proof now, the fact that they're not fulfilling people's withdrawal orders in any decent amount of time, that's proof that regulation did absolute jack squat to protect anybody from malfeasance on Coinbase's side. They're regulated and they're failing at making people whole. In fact, they're going to even blame the regulations, saying that, we had to go through this AML KYC, this Know Your Customer process before we could let you have your Bitcoins. Sorry. More coming up. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. For an investment of as low as $129, you can have a lifetime mining contract and support the Bitcoin network. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. It's the most profitable pool for miners, paying 120% of the block reward. That's pool.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, July 30th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.76 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,270 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 6.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,686. Antiwar.com reports with overwhelming majorities in both the House and the Senate passing it, the Russian sanctions bill is headed to the desk of President Trump, and the White House has issued a statement confirming that he will sign the bill. This was not unexpected, as despite Trump's reticence about the bill's limitations on him lifting sanctions in the future, the veto-proof majorities would have doomed any veto attempt to end in embarrassing failure. Instead, Trump appears to be trying to make the best of it, praising the bill for having responded to his concerns, despite the alterations made to the bill not having anything to do with his concerns about presidential powers. This stands in contrast to White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci, who only days ago said Trump might veto the sanctions and then unilaterally impose even tougher sanctions against the Russians, seemingly just to try to outdo Congress. Ultimately, the administration appears to have decided against this. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. UPI reports a federal judge this week ruled against a Virginia public official, saying she violated the First Amendment right of a constituent when she blocked on Facebook, a case that could affect politicians all the way up to President Donald Trump. The plaintiff in the case, Brian Davison, sued Loudoun County Board of Supervisors chairwoman Phyllis Randall after she blocked him from a Facebook page she promoted as a vehicle to communicate with constituents. Davison used the page to accuse members of the Loudoun County School Board of official corruption. Randall deleted the post and blocked Davison from viewing any subsequent post. District Court Judge James Kacharis ruled in Davison's favor, finding Randall violated Davison's First Amendment rights by blocking him from reading government information that was otherwise available to the public. The judge said Randall did not have the right to ban Davison from accessing public information because she was offended by his criticism of her colleagues in the county government. He ruled that because Randall used her Facebook page to disseminate information about government, blocking users was a cardinal sin under the First Amendment. A similar suit had been filed against Trump by a First Amendment group on behalf of hundreds of Twitter users Trump has blocked from his personal Twitter account at Real Donald Trump. Trump has frequently used his personal Twitter account rather than the official @POTUS account as a means for proclamations about government business. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports aviation authorities were ordered back to the drawing board on Friday to solve what a federal judge called the case of the incredible shrinking airline seat. Judge Patricia Millett told the Federal Aviation Administration to take another look at advocacy groups' assertions that shrinking airline seats are imperiling passenger safety. The judge rejected the FAA's argument that seat size was unimportant to getting off the plane in an emergency situation. All three judges on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit agreed the FAA must conduct a review of the request for regulation setting a minimum airline seat size, but Judge Judith Rogers dissented from part of the court's rationale. Airline seats have steadily decreased in size over the last several decades. Economy class seat pitch has decreased from an average of 35 inches in the 1970s to 31 inches, and in some airplanes, 28 inches. Seat pitch is the distance from one seat to the same spot on the seat in front or behind. Average seat width has also narrowed over the last decade from about 18 inches to 16.5 inches. Critics accuse airlines of being more interested in profit than passenger health and safety. FAA spokesman Greg Martin wrote in an email that the agency does consider seat pitch in testing and assessing the safety evacuation of commercial passenger aircraft, adding, "We are studying the ruling carefully and any potential actions we may take to address the court's findings." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Hello, this is anchor Doyle Redland. I have just been informed that my 40-year contract with the Onion Radio News expired 2 minutes ago. A brief extension has been added to my contract to allow me to say goodbye to you, my faceless listeners. I've been reading the news out loud on the air for a very long time now, and the words to describe my feelings are difficult to find. Steve, what are you doing? This is my big moment.
I'm getting the word now that you have to leave the studio right now.
But where will I go?
Now.
Well, goodbye, everyone. I'm just coming back for my hat. No, it's my hat. I just need it and I'll go. There's no need to get pushy. Moose! Rocco, I thought we were friends.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the third hour of the program here. Can talk about Venezuela when we get a chance to get back to it. Lots of Bitcoin discussion.
We are done with that?
Ended up coming. No, not really.
All
Ended up coming up here tonight. It's Ian with you, by the way.
And Johnny Ray.
And Mark.
We're going to go back to your phone calls, though, and your calls and thoughts are welcome about absolutely anything that is on your mind. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Let's go to the calls where Doug is on the line in Minnesota on the amp lines. Hello, Doug.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Happy to talk to you.
I'm happy to hear from you,
Sunday
Doug.
night. I know. It was a great time at the cabin. I'm driving home. I often listen to you guys Sunday nights. Just like old times, you and Ian. God, brings me back to the Florida days. All right, anyway. Sorry I missed Roger's, call last night. I was busy kneeboarding and stuff. There's video on Facebook.
That's Roger Veer, who is also known as Bitcoin Jesus. He spent about 2 hours with us fielding calls and answering questions about Bitcoin and the upcoming potential fork that looks to be pretty likely for the Tuesday, August 1st at about 8:20 in the morning. There's going to be a major change likely to Bitcoin that will result probably in two Bitcoins, Bitcoin Original, if you will, and the new Bitcoin Cash. Some people are calling the original Bitcoin Bitcoin Core, BTC, and the new Bitcoin Cash, BCC, although some have pointed out that BCC is already taken by another cryptocurrency, so they may end up using BCH. Anyway, that's what's happening in a nutshell, and people, don't know what to do. What do you want to? What's your comment? What are your thoughts, Doug?
Well, just want to give props to Roger Veer. It was thanks to you guys, of course, that made me a Bitcoin millionaire. I'll say that on the air. I bought half the cabin, and I paid a lot of taxes when I converted Bitcoin to fiat. But Roger and Eric and, Charlie all at PorkFest did my first transaction at the Mark Edge at the smoothie stand. So thank you all. Yeah. I've donated to Mark's cause there in Uganda.
Thank you.
And my miner's fee, you're welcome. I love the cause. My miner's fee was 12 cents because I use Airbits and it calculates the slow miner's fee at 12 cents. I'm pretty sure you don't give a rat's ass if it's in the next block or the block after. So 12 cents. Roger now has become overly exaggerating the miner fees to be up to $1,000, I heard him say last night.
No,
And,
what he said there was that he has heard some people from the core side, the old Bitcoin programmer guys who, I guess they're not that old, they're actually a newer batch of programmers, but the people who were programming the original Bitcoin,
say they didn't care if they went up to $1,000. And he's actually posted a screen cap of somebody saying that. So, it's an accurate statement. Right now, I don't think that Roger would argue that it would be very difficult to find a fee that's above $1. Yeah. Because even the people that have these,
I'm still paying more than $1. I mean, I've paid more than $1 on some transactions. It just depends on how many different sources it's coming from. There's some technical aspects, but generally, if you are not in a super rush, you can get the 10 cent or 20 cent or 30 cent fees more often these days.
Yeah, and even when the Bitcoin fees were outrageous, and by the way, I ran a company that depended on Bitcoin fees being 0 to none.
Right.
Yep. Watch My Bid is now in hibernation because of the transaction fees, and I hopefully plan to bring it back when the second layer scaling solutions, which are much more elegant, much more robust, much more effective, for tiny little amounts. I don't care about security for 20-cent videos, and I don't think anyone's going to try to double spend anybody for a 12-cent video or a coffee. It's just a more elegant solution than the on-chain scaling, I believe. And I think Roger over-exaggerates the problem. And today, I spent, I'm trying to keep the cops from being on my tail as I drive here.
Yeah.
Today, I spent, $7 on a sandwich at the Adirondack Cafe that takes Bitcoin in Nisswa, Minnesota, 12-cent fee.
Right.
I sent two $4 tips to two different baristas, way more than the sandwich cost, but I'm spreading Bitcoin everywhere. 12-cent fee. One of them had $50 on her Airbits wallet because she tipped tips earlier this summer and last year, and the price has gone up, and she is been very excited to see that. So,
and she's held on to it. Good for her.
Yeah. Well, they don't know what to do with it half the time, but I'll introduce her to Gift soon.
So what you're saying is that the fees, and we've covered the fees in detail here on Free Talk Live, the fees have been the big problem because the Bitcoin network has been full and still is full, but it's not as full now. And the mempool, which I described earlier, the area in which transactions that don't have a large enough fee wait to be processed, had been very, very full, and that's when we were seeing the fees of $2, $2.50, $3 per transaction, and that was only like 2 months ago, so that wasn't that long ago. It was after
I think that was because of shenanigans and people trying to mining zero transaction blocks with no transactions in them that some miners, selfish miners, do, and I think the problem is going to solve itself.
Why did it start? Why did the fees start going down in your mind, Doug? If you want to speculate, because these $2 or $3 fees, they started going down in tandem with this mempool that started emptying out, and that mempool started emptying out right at around the end of May, which is somewhat around the time when this SegWit 2X agreement happened. This these New York Accords, this agreement that came out of New York City, where a bunch of Bitcoiners, miners, 80-something% of the mining power out in the world, and a bunch of big companies came to this agreement. Do you think that was just a coincidence that all of a sudden, after that, over the period of about a month, the fees started coming down and the mempool started shrinking?
No. I think it became clear that it wasn't worth it to spam the network, artificially raising the fees, artificially causing fear, uncertainty, and doubt so that people would switch over to whatever flavor Roger was pushing at the time, Bitcoin Unlimited before Bitcoin Cash. And Roger's a passionate guy, and here's what I'm happy about. Well, so that's my answer, Ian. That's what I think happened. I think the miners all realized that, okay, you know what, SegWit's going to happen. All the powerhouse, all the users, not the miners, but the users are revolting and want this solution to happen, and they have capitulated. I think that's a good thing. There's compromise in the wind, and that's why they stopped spending money, stopped losing money, because it was no longer worth it for them to do the empty blocks was one of the games. The other one was.
So you believe that it was the big blockers who were spamming the Bitcoin?
Boost.
You believe that it was the big blockers who were spamming the network? Couldn't it have also been the people?
No. I think it was the miners. I think it was the ASIC Boost running miners who had a invisible unfair advantage because of their ASIC chips that they manufactured. I think that miner. Who is it? Via BTC or one of those big Chinese miners. Stopped spending, and they wanted to spend $100 million to fight SegWit. And that is about the amount of money that they were raising per year because of their ASIC boost. Not the normal ASIC boost, but the clandestine ASIC boost.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit too far out into the technical weeds
we certainly
here.
Are.
But basically,
but
basically, you're saying that one side that was benefiting from the miner fees was spending the fees it was getting to try to make the fees larger.
To try to make the fees larger, so that their solution would have won the day. Which was the largest. we got to increase the block size, and then they were artificially pushing these shenanigans to make it happen.
Doug, I'm curious to know what you're kind of giving some of the other side here. We had Roger on for 2 hours last night, and nobody called to challenge him, so you're kind of giving some of that here. Are you going to be dumping the Bitcoin Cash? Are you going to be holding it? Hang on if you want. If you got time, we'll bring it back here.
I do.
Doug is with us from WatchMyBit.com, which unfortunately had to shut down due to the excessive fees, which are still too high to run WatchMyBit. So they still need to come down even more. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Did you know if you invested $1,000 in Bitcoin in early 2010, you'd have nearly $35 million right now? $1,000 in Ethereum in 2014 would be over $500,000. Isn't it time you focused on investing in blockchains and cryptos? Get up to speed on a new digital world of Bitcoin, Ethereum, ICOs, and blockchains. Hands-on intensive investment workshops so you can be confident buying, selling, and trading. Don't miss out. Go to 100xinvestors.com. Use code FTL20 for 20% off. That's code FTL20, 20% off. 100xinvestors.com.
I've discovered the next big thing on the internet. Symbi.com is a symbiotic economy with its own currency where people trade services virtually and locally. Forget the old economy. This is your economy. Symbi.com is slick to use and is backed by the same people that helped launch Reddit and Airbnb. I'm not kidding when I say this is the next big thing. Trust me. Go get an account at Symbi.com. Take a look around and post your services. Symbi, SIMBI.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free and bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well, so feel free to Skype on in here. Skype username LRN.FM. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Johnny Ray,
and Mark.
We're going to continue with more of your calls and thoughts here. Also, do want to let you know about another option, because Bitcoin may be the number one cryptocurrency, but it may not be number one forever. There are a bunch of other cryptos out there that are nipping at its toes, doing their best to compete and bring market share over to their crypto. And Dash is one of them, one of the top 10 right now. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, private, and easy. Fees are low, and transactions are fast and can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar, and the Dash fees are a fraction of what the Bitcoin fees are these days. Dash is decentralized and run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today and find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now, so go to Dash.org and find out why. We've got Doug on the line with us here from Minnesota, longtime listener, longtime caller, supporter of Free Talk Live. You're kind of taking a different view of the future for Bitcoin. We had Roger Ver on last night. He's a big fan of the new Bitcoin Cash, which is likely going to be forking off of Bitcoin coming up here on Tuesday morning at about 8:20 Eastern Time. It's going to be a historic event. This has never happened to Bitcoin before. There are a zillion altcoins out there, hundreds of these things literally, that are trying to compete with Bitcoin. But all of them are sort of software copies and modifications of Bitcoin. This is the first time we're going to have a so-called altcoin that has all of the Bitcoin transactions included in it. So it's going to have a full copy of the 140 gigabyte Bitcoin blockchain from day number one when it forks off coming up on Tuesday morning. You sound less than enthusiastic about the Bitcoin Cash. Right now, the market is valuing it, its future price at about $350 per unit, which is just above 10%, maybe about 12 or 13% of the price of a full Bitcoin right now. So whether that's any indication of what's going to happen after the fork, I'm just curious to know what your strategy is. What are you planning on doing with your Bitcoin? Because for listeners that don't know, when Bitcoin forks on Tuesday, if you have Bitcoin before the fork, you will then have the same amount of Bitcoin and an equivalent amount of this new Bitcoin Cash if you're using a supported wallet that will support that. So what are you going to do, Doug?
I am going to hold my Bitcoin, not touch Bitcoin Cash.
Okay.
I researched trying to make some money off of it, because that's all I would do it for, was to try to just sell it and so I can buy more Bitcoin. I believe that's what the majority of the holders and the traders are going to do also. Driving the price of Bitcoin Cash further into the ground. It's already down from $600 or $800. It's not recovered. That's my strategy. Nothing. I'm going to hold my precious Bitcoin. I'm not a maximalist, by the way. Well, maybe I am a maximalist, because I own altcoins. I've traded altcoins, but I only trade them to make more Bitcoin. I did really well when I was in the hospital. I bought a whole bunch of altcoins and then sold them and made a crap load of Bitcoin,
wow,
which I then used to invest. I'm lead investor on some new projects, which you will hear about soon.
Oh, boy.
Eric Voorhees is a second investor on one of them, so that will be announced when we're out of stealth mode. And again, thanks to you guys. Thanks to you guys for making me so wealthy. I appreciate it very much. Kind of going to get nailed by the IRS one of these days again.
So
but anyway,
at this point, your strategy appears to be what my advice has been, which is just hold, because we don't know what's going to happen. My expectation isn't, as long as people call whatever this thing that we have that's going to introduce SegWit as the Bitcoin legacy, as long as they call that Bitcoin and then they call something else something else, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Classic, Bitcoin Unlimited. As long as there's another word that's attached to the end of it, then it isn't Bitcoin, then people are going to want Bitcoin because that's the thing that has the branding. It may not. I have no clue whether SegWit is a good idea or a bad idea.
People have been arguing about that for years. People who know a lot more than we do.
Don't know whether I think a larger block size is a good idea, but I think that for me, I've got a dirty taste in my mouth with all the stuff that I've seen on Twitter and Facebook and all that other stuff, and I just want to back away from it all and just see what happens because I am sick of hearing people talk, and I'm ready to see what happens.
Here's my dream, guys, and I want you guys to make this happen. After all this is done, when there's a clear winner, or Bitcoin Cash becomes another altcoin with its own ecosystem, I would love to get Charlie Shrem and Roger Ver on Free Talk Live together singing Kumbaya.
You're referencing...
That is my dream.
Two of the guys who we've had on the show separately in recent weeks, Charlie Shrem from Jax.
Who used to be great friends.
Yep. They've had a falling out.
Are now enemies.
They've had they've had a very public falling out. It happened on the internet, on Twitter, very recently, and it was it's always sad. It's always sad to see that happen. But people are so invested, literally, so invested in this thing and their beliefs about it. It's unfortunate.
People's arguments should happen on the radio, specifically on Free Talk Live, where Ian and I stream at each other on a regular basis, and everything's fine.
You do the streaming, not me.
Doug, this is Johnny Ray. I got a question.
Doug,
he's got to go.
Thank you. Yep.
Sorry, Johnny.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm a long-time listener and love your show.
I appreciate it.
Man. Might see you at Porkfest.
Oh, probably not. But anyway, thanks for the call. Thanks for the call, man. We're going to be at the Cannabis Freedom Festival, however. That's coming up. He's talking about the Liberty Festival that happens at the campground that we love, the Rogers Campground in the northern part of New Hampshire. We went there for Somalia Fest and Shire Fest this year, which was the competing event to Porkfest, and it's my understanding those events will be back in 2018, so maybe we'll see Doug there. Or later in the month of August for the Cannabis Freedom Festival. We're going to have Rick Naya from the Cannabis Freedom Festival on soon. He's actually working on getting Bitcoin acceptance rolling on the Cannabis Freedom Festival website, nhcannafest.com. I don't think it's up yet, so don't go looking for Bitcoin option quite yet, but they were working on that today, and we'll keep you in the loop on that. We expect to be doing the show from there. Johnny, you had wanted to say something to Doug, but you can say it after the fact. He appeared to be in a bit of a rush there.
Sure. Well, he voiced some explicit support for off-chain scaling solutions.
Right, which is the big SegWit thing that they're proposing.
Right. Yeah. And I just wanted to ask him if he didn't care about the peer-to-peer nature of Bitcoin, because I think that on-chain means peer-to-peer, and if you don't have on-chain, if you don't have an on-chain blockchain and people,
then who knows what's happening behind the scenes? Who knows
then it's not peer-to-peer. You got to have a third party.
Then you got to trust Coinbase or some other third party. And as we've seen with Coinbase recently, they haven't shown themselves to be particularly upfront. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Ralph, remember when you said you were going to start paying more attention to your health and now you're eating potato chips?
Just a few.
A few, okay, but you should be eating Superberry's Aronia berries.
Aronia what?
Aronia berries from superberries.com. They're known for having one of the highest levels of antioxidants that helps with overall wellness. Go to superberries.com/radio. And right now we get a free smoothie recipe book with our order. Plus we can save $4 at checkout.
Wow, look at all the benefits of these berries.
I know, Ralph, I know.
Choose health. Eat purple. Superberries.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the Bigot no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live Sunday edition of the program. You can dial toll-free here and bring up anything that you want to discuss with you tonight. It's Ian,
Johnny Ray,
and Mark.
And we're going to continue with your calls and thoughts here, where you can take control of the airwaves and bring up absolutely anything that is on your mind on this Live Sunday edition. Doug, actually, we're gonna break our rules.
Whose rule is this?
This is the rule of Free Talk Live that only one call per night. I did. And we're going to let Doug back on here because he said he really wanted to answer Johnny Ray's question, and you had a question specifically for Doug, Johnny Ray. But
I have fought myself off of hold,
just like Phil Hendry.
We know exactly.
Yeah, nice.
I fought myself off. Okay, Johnny Ray, rephrase your question. Re-ask it.
Sure.
Yeah.
When you started, you voiced explicit support for off-chain solutions, off-chain scaling solutions.
For the blockchain, which is the backing behind Bitcoin. That's the technology that basically runs Bitcoin. It's a distributed ledger that is decentralized and exists in thousands of locations all around the world. It can't be stopped. It can't be shut down. The problem is it's full of transactions, and they need to be able to scale it. So with that in mind, what was the question, Johnny Ray?
Bitcoin is often, I'll just set it up a little more. Bitcoin is often described as a peer-to-peer currency, decentralized, and And I always felt like the peer-to-peer quality of it required all of the signatures and everything to be on the chain. And if you take it off chain, then you're bringing in a third party, and it's not. It doesn't have the same spirit as Bitcoin anymore. So, is the peer-to-peer nature of Bitcoin not important to you, or am I wrong that you can't have peer-to-peer without everything being on the chain, on the blockchain?
Brilliant code, the SegWit, and its ability, and the most vetted, most tested, and complex code, but vetted by the most smartest people in Bitcoin, the core developers. We now have second layer solutions, and I mean, anybody can innovate a solution. So we do not have to use the Lightning Network, small l, that Blockstream is going to introduce. We don't want to. Maybe we will use the blockchain info Lightning Network, which they've already.
We're losing it. I wish we could. I wish we could do this, but it's not working. Doug, thanks for the call tonight. I'm sorry about that.
Call in with the explanation in the future.
Another night, would be fine. Let's continue with your calls and thoughts here. Actually, I didn't mean to summon him, but Rick Naya is on the line. I actually just mentioned that we were going to have you on, Rick, and I figured it was going to be at another point, but you just called in. So you're on Skype. Rick Naya, the organizer of the Cannabis Freedom Festival. You're on the radio.
Right on. How are you? Can you hear me?
Good. You sound good, man. We talked earlier today. I said, hey, do you have Skype? You said, I don't have a headset, and so you went and got one, apparently.
No headset. Just grabbed a pretty relatively webcam.
You got a webcam. It sounds good. It sounds good. Anyway, here you are. We were talking about the Cannabis Freedom Festival as an upcoming event that Free Talk Live is planning to be at again, because we were there last year and it was a lot of fun. And this year I think it's going to be even better. How's it shaping up? Because it's coming up fast. We're about, a month away at this point?
That's right. We're about a month away now. Everything is coming along very quickly, and we're really excited to put on this year. And I'm very proud of the sponsorships and the family and friends of the community here and the citizens of the state of New Hampshire pulling together and really being as resourceful as they are. And Justin Champignon, Joe LaChance, Heather Marie Brown.
Most of our listeners, I know you want to give props, but most of our listeners don't know most of the folks involved. They're definitely good people. But let's talk about what's going to happen. Why should people travel to New Hampshire? Because it's not just going to attract people from New Hampshire to the New Hampshire Cannabis Freedom Festival. What's going to be happening this year?
Well, this year we have guest speakers from around the nation, from different forms of cannabis legalization and experts in the industry. We also have a number of medical providers that will be there on site. And we have 35 different bands. We have
That's
bands.
what this is. This is, for listeners that don't know, maybe they didn't hear our broadcast last year. This is a show that goes on and on all day long, band after band after band. It is great music, throughout the day into the night. That's really what this is. It's just in addition to the speakers, which are sort of interspersed occasionally throughout the bands. It's just band after band, talented appearances. Who are some of the top billers that you got?
Some of the top billers this year are the Barely Dead, Rods and Cones, the Main Dead Project, Murder, the Chris English Project. We also have the best band in New England, Leaving Eden. We have the Tool tribute band, Schism, Rolling Nectar. We have a number of regional bands this year that are, quite frankly, the best that are available for us, and the ones that are working with us in the cause, people that understand that what we're doing here. And it's really greatly appreciated to know that here in New England, we're the last to have decriminalized just recently. I'm very proud of that. And we're looking forward to the new commission and working with them to establish a common sense program that's going to allow a lot more liberty for the citizens and allow farmers and those people who are from New Hampshire an opportunity to prosper within the industry without having it controlled by the by the crew, by the group.
Yeah, so New Hampshire made a big step in the right direction this year with the decriminalization. It could have been better, but it's a first step, and it's a good first step into changing the laws surrounding the prohibition surrounding this project or this plant. and hopefully we are going to see some, because a lot of people need to realize you can't rest on your laurels here. We're not done yet. There's a lot more of work that needs to be done inside and outside of the political system to move these ideas forward to where we can truly have cannabis freedom in New Hampshire.
Wonderful. That's correct. And we're also looking at a new way of going about doing that this year. And this is another reason why we hope that people really understand how cannabis and the industry itself affects a state. And no other place should cannabis be placed in the agriculture industry as a crop. And we don't need it in our alcohol commission or the tobacco commission to regulate that. We need our agricultural community to step forward and understand that that's where innovations and jobs are truly created to have longevity. And we're looking to enhance and reinforce that this year in the movement that we have with our New Hampshire Cannabis Farmers Collective that we're sharing our web and a lot of the different things that we share on our network, the New Hampshire network that we have.
Yeah, and that's what this is going to be about to some extent as well, is networking, meeting people within the cannabis industry, the community, folks who are going to want to invest in what inevitably will be, hopefully, one of the freest places for cannabis production in the world. If we can get our way, and hopefully we will, with more of the great libertarians that are migrating here as part of the ongoing New Hampshire freedom migration. There was a good solid group of libertarians attending last year at this event, and that's one of the things I really like about the Cannabis Freedom Festival is it allows us to talk to other people who may not understand fully the ideas of liberty. They may understand, hey, leave my body alone, but let's also talk to them about leave my finances alone, leave my business alone as well. And so it's cool to get to do Free Talk Live from this event. Where we can reach out to people who aren't sort of part of the choir, the people that we're used to encountering at the libertarian events that we attend, or the Bitcoin events. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be there again this year and produce Free Talk Live. We're going to do it a little bit differently this time. Because last time we did the live shows, but the problem was nobody really knew where we were or what we were doing. So this year, we're going to be doing recorded episodes of Free Talk Live, kind of like we did during the Somalia Fest earlier this summer, where we'll be able to be outdoors. We'll be able to be with the people there and be able to be seen by folks. So I'm really excited about this coming up Cannabis Freedom Festival.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that, too. To get you guys outdoor will be a great thing, and to bring a lot more of the liberty-minded people.
Hey, Rick, I'm gonna put you on hold here. I want to say thanks for coming on tonight. Well, I want to have you back on, though, hopefully this week, because I know you guys are working on Bitcoin acceptance, and I want to make sure we blast that out there once it's up and rolling.
You have no idea, but I was just going to tell you right now that Justin and I are about wrapping it up.
All right. Good. Hang on. More coming up here in moments. You can join us. This is Free Talk Live.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash and help us build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org. That's dash.org.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
And membership is only $9.95.
Yep. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
sell, makeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
In a move that puzzled patrons of the global fast food chain, McDonald's launched an extensive ad campaign this week entitled, "And Yet Is Not Beef Itself an Expression of Wanton Lust?" to air at prime time on several networks. The lengthy advertisement, which makes scant reference to any products or promotions, posits to viewers that perhaps beef is merely a symbolic expression of lust in its most wanton and depraved form.
When we call for beef, what are we really asking for? Is it the caress of a gentle lover? Or the blade of an executioner? The rage of steel on bone? Would you yourself deny beef? Would beef deny itself of you?
In other news, a spaced-out flower child is grooving on a doobie wave. A new study reveals nothing Pfizer's lawyers can't take care of, and the parents of an adorable child on a TV show are most likely insane. Thus ends nature's majestic cycle of weekly news reviews, only to gracefully begin itself anew in exactly 1 week's time.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Moments remain here on this live Sunday edition of the program. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, although you probably aren't going to get in here because we've got a few folks on hold. If you don't get in tonight, that's okay. We always do the show every night, 7 nights a week. We're live, so feel free to join us anytime that you want. It's Ian, Jonny, Ray, and Mark in the studio here tonight. And Rick Naya is still with us here, calling us from Concord, presumably in his home there, which is a wonderful house. I've had the pleasure of visiting a few times as you guys are hammering out the final details for the upcoming Cannabis Freedom Festival. Listeners who have not yet done so should visit your website, Rick. It's nhcannafest.com, NHCANNA, Fest, Cannafest, nhcannafest.com, and that's where you got information up there about, who's going to be playing, what bands. You've got information about the campground, which is Rogers Campground, just an absolutely stunning, beautiful location. I'm so glad the festival is coming back to that location this year. I imagine you got some good feedback on it from festival goers last year, Rick?
Oh, yeah, we did. There was a lot of good feedback from the festival. We've really done a good job throughout the years. We were awarded by Cannabis Now, one of the top 10 cannabis business events in the nation, which was a great honor to us. And
it's also a big deal because this is only year number 4. I mean, this is still a relatively new event in the scheme of things.
Well, in the scheme of things, it is. But remember, New Hampshire was the very first state and the largest House of Representatives in the nation to pass a legalization bill only to be, vetoed by governors on many occasions. So cannabis has been on the forefront in New Hampshire for a multitude of years. What it's come down to is the level of advocacy and diplomacy that we've used with common sense policy, educating these representatives. And remember, the body of representatives that we have in our House is a little bit aged, and the reason being they don't pay. And a lot of retirees take on these endeavors, and they do the best they can. But now, with the changes in our liberty-minded friends and our free state projects and all of the different things that we're doing here in New Hampshire, I believe that this movement and the cannabis movement is moving forward as quickly as the state is. We're developing a newer New Hampshire, and I'm very happy to be part of that and having the LRN. And I wanted to make an announcement tonight that Well, we have been putting a lot of work onto our site and our efforts in the Liberty movement. And as of this evening, I'm really proud to say that we're going to be accepting Bitcoin as payments for our festival and for our retail and online site.
It's very exciting. It's
awesome.
It's not yet up and rolling yet, but I see you've got the page up on the site and you're working on it as we speak. So I definitely want to have you back to make the official announcement about that, because some of our listeners may be waiting until they can pay with Bitcoin. But for folks who want to get in right now, grab tickets with credit card, that's available. And the general admission price, lower than I expected it to be for all those bands, Rick. $75 for the general admission ticket.
Yeah, you got to understand something that throughout the years that we've done this, we've gone from, using bands that, play for free, that just wanted to get recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And we grew and we expended and expended and expended to a point where, it's no longer feasible in our market to have such an expensive festival. And we made some changes. And a lot of the people that are playing for the festival are playing for Rick Naya. They're playing for the citizens. They're playing for the cause. They're helping us. They're supporting us. They've gone as far as giving us 50% discounts, and some of them are there playing for the passes and the enjoyment and the pleasure of being with all of us and sharing their love with us. So that's what it's all about. It's not about Rick Naya. It's not about any one person or group of. It's the entire body of citizens that we have that believe in cannabis that much, and the industry and what it's done, the devastating effects of this falsehoods of the drug war and all of the opiate problems that they discuss. And it's just all rubbish. What we need to do is address this scientifically and educate, as we have been these last 10 years, especially these last 3.5 with Matt Simon and myself and Erica Goldner. And you know how hard we go down there, and we really bring the wood when we come, and it's really changing. I'm very proud of
you're talking about the political action that's been very successful over the years here in New Hampshire. By the way, I do want to mention the dates of the festival. We did say we're about a month out, but to give the specific dates, it's August 25th through the 27th. That's a Friday through a Sunday. And it is just nonstop bands. I mean, for the price of, by the way, your ticket is cheaper than the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and there's way more to see and have fun with at the New Hampshire Cannabis Freedom Festival.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I think that the Pork Fest is a wonderful event, and it has changed, and things are different, and families and life, it's like that. It's expected. But to have Freedom Festival where we can all come, all of us, it doesn't matter what race or creed or what we believe in. It's cannabis that doesn't have that voice. It doesn't have eyes, and it doesn't have anything. It has us to do the speaking. And when we do that together, and you see how much fun it is and the joy we have with these guest speakers and the changes that we're bringing with this. This is how we've been able to touch the body of our representatives by bringing them to our festival, having them speak and see the families and these vendors. And there are more space for vendors. If anybody wants to be a vendor, please contact info@nhcannafest.com, and we'd be happy to get you guys in there.
And have those politicians learn from that experience that these aren't, drug addict monsters who are, destroying society. And as they're going to see once decriminalization goes into effect, because it actually hasn't yet. It's been signed by the governor, but it's still, I think, early September is when it's actually going to go into effect.
September 6th, I think, yeah.
But to have them see, the reality of these are your neighbors, these are your family members, these are people who are close to you. They're regular folks, productive people who use cannabis on a regular basis. I think that's an important experience, and I'm glad to be part of it. Mark, Jonny Ray, any questions for Rick while we've got him on the line here?
I'm really looking forward to the new sort of setup for Free Talk Live. It was a great festival last year.
Yep.
I got the opportunity to sort of sit up in our makeshift studio up there and listen to the music and wander through the event. The food was great. The vendors were great, and I really enjoyed the music. Rick, are you going to be able to bring back the same amount of food vendors as you had the last go around?
Well, last go around, it was really quite amazing. A lot of them came out of the woodwork the last month. And like now, that's why I'm saying any vendors that want to come and join us, please do. We have Nepalese food that's going to be there. We have the same pizza that we had there at Pork Fest with Little Zoe's Pizza, which is just phenomenal pizza. Yeah, that's pizza. We have the Good Ones concession, the fried foods. We have Mitch's Munchies that'll be there. And we also have Stephen Cohn that'll be there with some phenomenal like paleo food and just some really health conscious food.
Good. That stuff always sells really good. If somebody shows up with healthy food at one of these events, they have a line typically.
It's amazing how well they do. I don't go there for that stuff. But
Give me an elephant ear.
Right. Well, if my wife's there, I'm standing in line with her. But
Yep. And you also have to have your love Java coffee in the mornings. Gotta have my coffees in the morning. So yeah, there'll be a lot of vendors there this year. If anybody wants to be one, anybody that's looking to become one, please do contact us. I'm able to work with you and get you into the event and make it a happier and a more productive event for everybody. So if anybody wants to join us, please do get a hold of us.
So once again, August 25th through the 27th, tickets available now. We'll let you know once the Bitcoin tickets go on sale as well. And Rick, Naya, thank you for coming on Free Talk Live unscheduled. I was going to schedule an interview with you, but this was great and a great opportunity to talk about the event and what's coming up.
I greatly appreciate you guys very much. You know that. I support you guys wholeheartedly. I have for many years. Thank you so much for the work that you do for all of us in the Liberty Movement, and continue to doing the good work. And I'm looking forward to sharing that love with everybody at New Hampshire Cannabis Freedom Festival.
You got it, brother. You have a great night. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Blessings to all
Rick
of you.
Naya from nhcannafest.com, and we're going to be there broadcasting from the event. Looking forward to it. It was a lot of fun.
When is it?
Last year?
August?
It's a month away, Mark.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
4 weeks. So we're going to go to Patch, who's been waiting patiently in Illinois. Patch, you're on Free Talk Live. You got the last word here. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, hey, I was listening yesterday. You were talking about the police in Chicago situation, about them, saying they can straighten the city out.
I don't recall talking about that yesterday, but okay. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, it was just a comment. But anyways, when I had to ride around with my dad all the time up there, they would literally... I asked them what Caucasian and the other word for black meant, and they, when they would literally say one meant criminal and one meant not, and they would have a game with me to try to figure out which one was a criminal and which was not. And it took me years to realize they were talking about black people.
Oh, wow.
So black people were automatically, in their mind, criminals. Now, you were talking about the cannabis situation. This whole hypocrisy about that, when they confiscated cannabis, my dad himself would bring the stuff home. He would take it and bring it home.
What would he do with it?
He would give it to my brother and his friends.
It's ridiculous. I wish we had more time for police corruption stories, because I'm sure you've got them, because your dad was one of them. Thanks, Patch, for the call tonight. Feel free to call back anytime. And we didn't get through the rest of the story about Venezuela. We're going to have to get the details on how the vote went, because we didn't know that at the beginning of the show tonight. We should know more by tomorrow for sure. Meanwhile, you can join us online in the meantime. Head over to freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. Coincap.io.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, July 30th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.76 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,270 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 6.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,686. Antiwar.com reports with overwhelming majorities in both the House and the Senate passing it, the Russian sanctions bill is headed to the desk of President Trump, and the White House has issued a statement confirming that he will sign the bill. This was not unexpected, as despite Trump's reticence about the bill's limitations on him lifting sanctions in the future, the veto-proof majorities would have doomed any veto attempt to end in embarrassing failure. Instead, Trump appears to be trying to make the best of it, praising the bill for having responded to his concerns, despite the alterations made to the bill not having anything to do with his concerns about presidential powers. This stands in contrast to White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci, who only days ago said Trump might veto the sanctions and then unilaterally impose even tougher sanctions against the Russians, seemingly just to try to outdo Congress. Ultimately, the administration appears to have decided against this. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. UPI reports a federal judge this week ruled against a Virginia public official, saying she violated the First Amendment right of a constituent when she blocked on Facebook, a case that could affect politicians all the way up to President Donald Trump. The plaintiff in the case, Brian Davison, sued Loudoun County Board of Supervisors chairwoman Phyllis Randall after she blocked him from a Facebook page she promoted as a vehicle to communicate with constituents. Davison used the page to accuse members of the Loudoun County School Board of official corruption. Randall deleted the post and blocked Davison from viewing any subsequent post. District Court Judge James Kacharis ruled in Davison's favor, finding Randall violated Davison's First Amendment rights by blocking him from reading government information that was otherwise available to the public. The judge said Randall did not have the right to ban Davison from accessing public information because she was offended by his criticism of her colleagues in the county government. He ruled that because Randall used her Facebook page to disseminate information about government, blocking users was a cardinal sin under the First Amendment. A similar suit had been filed against Trump by a First Amendment group on behalf of hundreds of Twitter users Trump has blocked from his personal Twitter account at Real Donald Trump. Trump has frequently used his personal Twitter account rather than the official @POTUS account as a means for proclamations about government business. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports aviation authorities were ordered back to the drawing board on Friday to solve what a federal judge called the case of the incredible shrinking airline seat. Judge Patricia Millett told the Federal Aviation Administration to take another look at advocacy groups' assertions that shrinking airline seats are imperiling passenger safety. The judge rejected the FAA's argument that seat size was unimportant to getting off the plane in an emergency situation. All three judges on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit agreed the FAA must conduct a review of the request for regulation setting a minimum airline seat size, but Judge Judith Rogers dissented from part of the court's rationale. Airline seats have steadily decreased in size over the last several decades. Economy class seat pitch has decreased from an average of 35 inches in the 1970s to 31 inches, and in some airplanes, 28 inches. Seat pitch is the distance from one seat to the same spot on the seat in front or behind. Average seat width has also narrowed over the last decade from about 18 18 inches to 16.5 inches. Critics accuse airlines of being more interested in profit than passenger health and safety. FAA spokesman Greg Martin wrote in an email that the agency does consider seat pitch in testing and assessing the safety evacuation of commercial passenger aircraft, adding, "We are studying the ruling carefully and any potential actions we may take to address the court's findings." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Last month, the FDA approved Hallucex, a new class of weight loss drug that helps users avoid overeating by producing nightmarish hallucinations whenever food is around. Hallucex targets the brain's cerebral cortex, stimulating the centers responsible for fear and visual processing. Test subjects reported an unprecedented decrease in appetite and showed dramatic weight loss, with only 18% reporting night terrors or subsequent cardiac arrest.
It's designed to make fatty and sugary foods even scarier. An apple just looks like it has fangs, but a milkshake will threaten you and your family by name.
Earlier incarnations of the drug proved to be too powerful and produced mental states in which test subjects no longer believed that food had ever existed. An unshakable belief that the subject had to eat all of the food on the planet in order to prevent food from rising up and destroying the human race.
No, you don't understand. I have to do this.
Or the conviction that food could be negotiated with diplomatically. With the Lab Report, I'm Aisha Patel.
This is the Onion News Network.
Right. Good evening and welcome to the Call to Freedom live here on LRN.FM. I am your host, as always, Will Coley, broadcasting live from our beautiful Liberty Bunker snuggled here in the Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee, and joined, as always, by my normal co-host, Mr. Tom Gray. How you doing tonight, Tom?
And I guess slightly less normal to our regular listenership than I was before last week's show, but I really want to thank everybody for your kind words, your support as I go through what is turning out to be a really wonderful turning point in my life. On the other hand, this week on the Call to Freedom, I don't even know how to make a joke about the guy who comes into the White House saying, "I'm going to fire everybody," and then his wife's like, "Oh, well, I'm going to fire you first."
Oh, Scaramucci or
Scaramouche, are you gonna get divorced? Oh,
right. All right, and somebody who is becoming a bit of a regular fixture around here, Miss Aria Demezio from the anarchistgmail.com. How are you tonight, Aria?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
It is good to be back. Good to be back.
Namaste, dear. Namaste.
You know, we don't have that horrible whistling sound anymore. I'm sure our listeners have noticed that, and it's because we finally got a new I finally got a new laptop, but it's a Mac, and because it's a Mac, I'm absolutely retarded. Because when I minimize something, it just goes away, and I don't know how to get it back. It's just gone, and so all of my show notes were minimized right before we came on the air. I have no idea how to get them back up. So I'm sure when we go after the first break, one of you is going to teach me how to use this computer.
you Siri, just be like, "Siri, what the heck did Donald Trump do today?"
Right.
We should just do that. Let's make that a segment later in the show and just see what happens.
Yeah. Well, no, Siri is on your phone though. Siri's not on your computer.
Yeah, no. They have some sort of version of Siri on the PC, I'm sure, because Microsoft has Cortana that's on both mobile and desktop. So surely there's some form of Siri.
So you're telling me my Mac is listening to me?
Well, that's a given. I mean,
well, that makes me feel so much better now.
Great.
Well, we did finally switch to Signal, so I mean, we have gone that far. But I'm a retard. So what I'm gonna have to do is either after we move to New Hampshire, I'm gonna have to get Ian to do all this, or I'm gonna have to have Aria come up one of these days and be like, make my laptop safe to use, please.
I know nothing about Macs. I wish I could help you with this. I actually have a few clients who use them, and I'm just, you got to call somebody else for that one.
I hate these things. They're not user friendly. I know people they swear by them. They're like, "Oh my god, it's the greatest thing ever," and I'm like, "No, Windows is way more user friendly."
Yeah, I'm like